shot in the third leg. Conor Hine.
That's exactly what he needed.
Conor Hine. Game shot and the match. Conor
That
Hine.
man right there has won Group A.
And taken superbly by Mitchell to break into lead 2-1.
Just what the
Shot on the
doctor
first
ordered.
leg. Tom Lonsdale.
From a 98 average to an 86.
Game shot on the
Beautiful
fourth
once
leg.
again. A
Stefan
third ton
Hendrick.
plus checkout in 4 legs.
Wonderful atmosphere.
I think he's starting to enjoy this. I've not seen a game like this before in Portsmouth.
Hello, good evening. Welcome along to the Modus Super Series from the live lounge here in Portsmouth. Group B is about to get underway this evening. I suppose we're going to have to answer that age-old question. You know that one that's been burning in the mind for a while? What happens when a dog and a pigeon are fighting over a muffin? As Scott Mitchell, Mike van Duivenbode and Steve Hine enter the action. And we're going to be watching it in the company of the asset Paul Nicholson. Paul, we'll talk about tonight in just a second, but let's quickly reflect on this afternoon where Thomas Banks is 8 points from 10 and was really the dominant force.
He was the best player of the afternoon. I don't think there's any debate about that. But we did debate at the start whether the odds compilers had it wrong. And good on Thomas. He actually proved us right and showed that his price for winning Group C was all wrong. Tomorrow, there may be a little bit more pressure on him because for the first time this week, he's got a lead to protect. But I think he'll relish it.
Well, let's have a look at the table from Group C following this afternoon's action. As I say, Banks leading the way, 8 points to his name. Simon Adams on 6 points. And one thing he did very well this afternoon was win games tight. A lot of 4-3s involved in there. But when it came to the key moments, finding something.
Always seems to play his best darts towards the end of a match. And he's stayed in with a chance of winning a match. But ultimately, I think it's because his opponents have allowed him to. If you can get him closed out pretty quickly, it can seem quite simple to beat Simon. But if you allow him to grind away and figure out a way to get over you, that's how he beats you. And I think you should be very proud of the 6 points he got today.
Well, let's have a look at the tournament bracket as we enter the halfway point of the week. Conor Hine won Group A yesterday. Group C was what we watched this afternoon, and Group B is what's getting underway this evening. Tom Lonsdale and Stefan Hendrick are the two players that enter the fray from Group A, while Steve Hine, Scott Mitchell, and Mike van Duivenbode will make their debuts this week. Let's talk about the two players that are coming in. First of all, Tom Lonsdale, who had the opportunity to win Group A yesterday, was unable to do so. How important may reset mentality be for him this evening?
It will be tough. There's no doubt about that. He did have an opportunity to win that group, but towards the end, he just seemed to fade at the wrong time. That game he had with Conor Hine, and in fact, the last 2 games he had with Hine over the last couple of days, they haven't cooperated at all. And I think that might have eroded his confidence just a little bit. And it may have had an effect on his final match in Group A. But if he's done the right things today to blow off the cobwebs, get some fresh air and some hot air, because it's been very warm here, he should be okay in this group. He's got the level, and we have seen enough this week to suggest that he's got enough in the tank to get through to Saturday. It's just a question of getting the wins early to make sure he's got something to build on.
What's your thoughts on Scott Mitchell coming into this group? A player who's come close here on a few occasions, able to cross that finishing line. But there's been signs elsewhere, particularly on the seniors tour, that things maybe are beginning to click again for him.
I think he's someone who is building up to something. I've said this for the last few weeks. When we see Scott here now, we now have to ask him where he's at. If he continually makes Saturday nights, he's going to get an opportunity. It's that simple. He's got the experience. He's still playing at a very high level, but he's got to continually make those Saturdays to have that chance of making a Champions Week. At the minute, I'm seeing evidence from some of the games he's played in the Challenge Tour and elsewhere to suggest that he's on the cusp of something, and it may just be this week, but I wonder how he'll cope with the conditions because it's very hot out there tonight.
Yeah, it's very warm. We were out there around about an hour before play got underway, and it's sweltering here in Portsmouth this evening. And how will the players generally have to cope with that? Because it is an extreme condition out there.
It is. Some players really like the heat. Some players despise it. The fact of the matter is, you've got to make peace with it. You can't expect things to change. You can't go up there with an air conditioner strapped to your back and think, well, that'll make it better. That's not going to happen. Go out there. Oh, it's hot, isn't it? Make peace with it. Move on. Don't complain. Just work with it because it's the same for everybody.
Well, let's have a look at the odds then for tonight's action. This is what the bookies think. Mitchell goes off 5-4 favourite. Stefan Hendrick 4-1, joint second favourite with Tom Lonsdale. But Steve Hine at 5-1 has been playing some good stuff this year. Is he the interested fancy in the betting?
Most definitely. I think we look at Mike van Duivenbode and think it's a bit of an unknown quantity. That 13-2 might look absolutely silly by the 2 days are done because we just don't know what kind of form he's in. However, Steve Hine, we've got some positive feedback from him over the last couple of hours. We know that Mitchell's going to be the favourite because he's the one who constantly comes here and seems to have this burgeoning likelihood of always making a Saturday. But yeah, I get the feeling that Hine could be the surprise package. At that price, it looks pretty inviting.
It's 18 plus. It's begambleaware.org if you're going to have a flutter on the Super Series this evening. Right, our first game of the session sees Steve Hine in action. He takes on Stefan Hendrick. And earlier on this evening, I caught up with the Muffin Man. Steve, another stint for yourself here at the Super Series. And it feels like with every appearance here, you're becoming more at home on the stage.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a great place to play. The first time I came here, I said, if you can't play darts here, you can't play darts anywhere.
And we've seen from your previous appearances, making it through to Saturday. And you're making progress as well on Saturday night, slowly but surely in the right direction.
Of course, obviously, I've made the finals night. Then last time I made the semis. Unfortunately, lost to Neil, and he ended up winning it. Getting through tonight's going to be hard. Obviously, there's 4 of the class players here, but I'm here to give a good shot at it as always.
As I say, we've seen obviously the practice room and the players that are in there this week, but there's a lot of players there that obviously the likes of SCOTTY would have played before, but other players in there, I imagine around the circuits you've seen little bits of. There shouldn't be anything to fear, should there?
No, I don't fear anybody. Even if he's playing Phil Taylor at his pomp, I don't fear anybody. But or Paul Nicholson, to be honest, when he was at his pomp, which was a long time ago, but he was at one point. But yeah, I mean, I respect every player I play. I know what they all can do. They wouldn't be here otherwise, So I've got to treat every game the same. Hope to do enough to qualify. Because all we have to do is qualify for Saturday, then do the business on a Saturday night.
How's the darts been since we last seen you?
Great. I mean, obviously this year has been a bit of a renaissance for me personally. I've took a step back a little bit, and next year I'm going to hit the ground running. Since I've took a rest, my darts have improved massively. I was playing too much. I burnt myself out last year. I'm getting old now, so I've got to be realistic what I can do.
You're doing the right things at the right time, Steve. Wish you all the very best. Good luck.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
And Steve Hine is in action in our first game of the session. He takes on the Belgian Stefan Hendrick, who finished 3rd in Group A on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday respectively. Really has grown as the weeks gone along. Has Mr. Chips, as we've affectionately called him here at the Live Lounge. His actual nickname is Frite, and you can see there on the back of his shirt a load of chips. Well, I'm not sure whether chips go too well with muffins, but that's exactly the variety we're going to get in our first game as the 55-year-old Steve Hine from Coventry, former quarter-finalist of the UK Open, makes his return to a stage where he's had some success in the past, a semi-final, another previous finals night appearance, taking on Stefan Hendrick, who is making his debut here following his exploits and successes on the Belgian darts tour that the ADC run. It's game 1 of 10 that we're going to be watching this evening, and we're going to be watching it in the very capable company of the asset
First
Paul
leg,
Nicholson.
it's Steve to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, an interesting night ahead. This one's going to be speedy. Both like to get on with it.
45.
Conditions are a bit muggy out there. But maybe Hendrick, who's been playing here this week, has the advantage because he's used to it. And he starts wonderfully by hitting his 12th maximum of the week.
108.
Well, this is what we're going to get. Sign us up.
Fair to say, the pair has settled in very quickly. And Stefan yesterday really did improve from day 1 to day 2. And actually had a little bit of a chat with him after the session. And he said the first 2 days he just felt really nervous on the stage. It was something that's
41.
completely brand new to him. But yesterday, used the experiences of before to try and find his happy medium. And you could tell in his performances that there was very
41.
much an improvement.
Unquestionably, especially in his last 2 matches. He set a new Super Series personal best of
100.
96.88. That's very useful. And considering what he was throwing the first 2 days of the week, that was a distinct improvement.
59. Steve, you require
Still
135.
think there's another level to find, though.
60.
Okay, so he will come back for 75. It will be under pressure.
83. Steve, you require
But
75.
how much, I will leave to everybody watching. Double top.
35.
They are
Stefan,
pretty
you require 97.
heavy barrels that the Muffin Man has. Double 12. Oh, that was
73.
close.
Steve, you require 40.
Close call in the first leg for the Muffin Man. Who looks for the marker, gets it
on
and
the
uses
first
it.
leg, Steve Hine.
We'll take that for starters. Hine one up on Hendrick, who will feel like he should have
Second
kept
leg,
closer
Stefan
order
to
in
throw
that
first.
leg.
on.
Couple of straight errant darts really costing him a more tangible
100.
opportunity to get the leg one.
Doesn't get a great deal of maximum Steve Hine because of the size of his darts, and he hasn't changed the approach to the equipment a great deal in the last quarter century because he has been playing darts a very long time.
180.
What a sensational first game. And every time Hendrick hits a max, Hine comes back with one.
Anything you can do, I can do just as well.
85.
And these two really laying down foundations in this opening game of the evening. For Steve, we know the high level he can
134.
ascertain, and
Stefan,
he's
you
really
require
asked the question of Hendrick
136.
here, leaving himself on 64 after 9, forcing this to go to say throw, but he cannot find the second treble.
87.
And so Hine's
Steve,
going to get the
you require
opportunity
64.
here to break Hendrick, and it could be a potential 11 dart leg. 12 would do if he can find tops,
44.
but it's just below the
Stefan, you
target.
require 49.
Bonus chance here. He knows he could be 2-0 down. Double top. That double 10
39.
has been such a
Steve, you
love-hate
require
relationship for him
20.
this week. Let's see if he hates it here. Oh, is this awkward?
10.
It probably was,
Stefan, you
actually.
require 10.
Looks like he bent the wire and made the segment just a little smaller.
Well, two things have become very apparent in this match. The scoring has been
6.
terrific, but the doubling
Steve, you
has
require
been dismal.
10.
1 from 7, 0 from 5 on the outer ring. And
No
that
score.
was
Stefan, you require
wild to say the
4.
least. It looked like a safe attempt at a single 12, more than it did a double 5 attempt.
As soon as that left his fingers, he knew that was nowhere near. That one's in
on
though.
the second leg, Stefan Hendrick.
Well, if he left his hand up any longer for that apology, he would have been directing traffic.
Third leg, it's Steve to throw first.
Well, we've already
Game
seen
on.
15 missed darts at a double in this match.
41.
And we've seen games already this week where we have seen a plethora of missed doubles in there. And it was actually
60.
Stefan Hendrick was involved in that game against Moreno Blom, where Blom missed 28 darts at a double, but yet still managed to win
100.
that match.
Don't get me started on how weird this week's been. It's been weirder
121.
than the curious case of Benjamin Button.
Well, Steve Hine is seemingly being an evergreen player, hasn't he? He said
43.
himself that he's enjoying a bit of a renaissance, and actually saying in his interview earlier on this evening that possibly less is more, and it feels
60.
as if he is much the better for timing what he plays a little bit better than maybe he had done before. He openly said himself that he's possibly in 2023 was suffering from a bit of burnout.
135.
So much choice, isn't there? WDF, Seniors, Super Series, ADC. I think we've now got to the
100.
stage where people have to make choices as to which places they have to play and either go all in on one of them.
Stefan, you require
or use
160.
3 or 4 is just too much. But it's nice to have the choice, isn't it? because these choices weren't here pre-COVID.
78. Steve, you require
It
138.
was either travel around Europe or you get nothing at all, wasn't it? In terms of the BDO circuit back in them times.
I didn't even mention the Challenge Tour there, by the way,
114.
and possible
Stefan, you
invites
require
into the Pro
82.
Tour. Well, that's 13. That's a good miss.
13.
That means he can go 69. 19 for Bull. Can't take advantage of it.
48.
I wonder if Steve
you
will.
require 24.
Double six.
12.
That's now 1 from
Stefan, you require
13 on the outer
34.
ring for Steve Hine. And Hendrick is being presented with opportunities he probably didn't expect, but he has to take.
How many times has he left double 15 by accident this week?
4.
I've lost count.
Steve, you require 12.
It's like pass the parcel when it comes to the doubling in this match.
Game shot on
Hine
the third
eventually
leg.
gets
Steve
over the
Hine.
line to lead 2-1. Well, what a strange game it's been, because the
Fourth
scoring
leg.
has
It's
been
Stefan
up
to the
there
road
with
first.
a
Game
lot
on.
of games we've seen this week, a lot of the better games we've seen this week, but in terms of the
100.
outer ring, well, 14% and 9% respectively are the double conversion rates.
Yeah, that will definitely improve.
24.
I was interested in what Steve was saying in his interview about the fact that he's not afraid of anybody. He's absolutely right. He never has been.
140.
Spent a lot of time with Steve around the world. Been to Canada with him. Been to the United States with him. Been to Australia.
140.
He has been everywhere in the last quarter century. So much experience.
100.
Yeah, apparently he didn't even fear you in your pomp, which begs the question, the Paul Nicholson pomp?
There's nothing to fear.
83.
I didn't even know I had a pump.
Stefan, you require 161.
Well, apparently you did.
125.
I don't see it as a slight on me at all. I think it's good that people don't fear each other and you can just go up there and bash each other up on the dartboard.
121.
Well, he did also
Stefan,
say
you
that he
require
didn't fear Phil
36.
Taylor. I think that's the more pertinent statement here. As Hendrick looks at double
Game shot
18
on the
to
fourth
go
flag,
up at
Stefan
2-2. And for the
Hendrick.
first time in this match, somebody is converted first time of asking. 13 darter, and
Fifth
level we
flag.
are
It's
after
Steve to
4.
throw first. Game on.
I think if you were going to create a tagline
59.
for this game, you know how they make up titles for wrestling shows and boxing shows? If this one was to have on, it would be savoury or sweet.
42.
Are you savoury or sweet? I'm talking about food here, by the way.
A bit more of a savoury. I do like a good dessert, but you got to get to the main
100.
course.
Yeah, savoury for me too.
I'm partial, though, to a good
58.
cheesecake. Tell you what, there's an Italian restaurant not too far from this venue, and the strawberry cheesecake that they do is up there of anything
121.
I've had.
I'll tell you what, come the winter, I'll make you one.
108.
Then you'll realise what a cheesecake's actually supposed to taste like.
Pies earlier, cheesecake tonight. This sounds like a good night. Well, we're now entering this crossroads moment of the match. Both players
85.
locked at 2-2 and 2-2-1. Hine first to a finish, but Hendrick will feel a couple of troubles here. He's got command of this leg against Fro. But not them troubles.
8 games per
38.
player in this
Steve,
group
you
scenario,
require
remember. 4 tonight and 4
136.
tomorrow. The shortest group format all week. Stevie Hine, double 8.
120.
He's got the right amount of syllables in his name. If you're turning up on Saturday night and he's here, you could call him Stevie Hine, Stevie Hine, Stevie Hine.
133. Steve, you require 16.
Double 4.
No
And again,
score.
it's another wild attempt
Stefan,
at a
you
double, which
require
goes
50.
deep into the opposite target, or the target next door. And so Hendrick again being presented an opportunity on the back of the high miss, and now he's missing the big number.
He almost hit 45 there. Oh, that
Game
will
shot on the
hurt.
fifth leg. Stefan Hendrick.
After being around for more than 2 decades, Seeing shots like that hit against you, they still
Stick
hurt.
leg.
They
It's
still
Stefan to
sting.
throw first. Game on.
He almost hits treble 15 going for 10 and then converts the rest. My word.
60.
That's like somebody putting a couple of pebbles in your shoe. Really annoying.
Well, Hendrick's 3-2 up in this contest, but you can make the argument that it
135.
should be the reverse. And actually, you could make an argument that Hine could have walked off a 4-1 winner in this contest. He's had the chances, 2 from 18 on the doubles, and in
59.
most legs he's been first to a finish.
He's had 4 more darts at a double than his opponent, and he's behind.
100.
That's never a combination for feeling happy. If you think about
100.
Mr. Chips from Catchphrase, by the way, doesn't look that dissimilar to Stefan Hendrick. Hasn't got any
45.
hair. I'm not telling fibs here.
57.
All I need now is for him to hit the match dart and then for Stephen Mulhern to pop in from behind the curtain and say,
60.
it's a good answer, but it's not right. I know what you're waiting to say. I know you've been waiting to say it all week.
65.
Will the middle solve the riddle?
Steve, you require 161.
Well, the middle of the diddle solved the riddle, but Hine didn't have to.
81. Stefan, you require 160.
So Hendrick for the match, 160.
Biggest finisher of his week, 123. That will remain the case.
140.
But boy, has he
Steve,
set
you
it up.
require 80.
And Hine may only get a dart here to send us all the way. He's going to get 2 at double 10. But again,
70.
the miss is there apparent. He's
Stefan,
now
you
missed
require
18 darts
20.
at a double in this game. And this game could be over if Hendrick can pin the double 10. It's been a match
Game
marred
shot
by
and the
missed
match,
doubles, but it is
Stefan
Stefan Hendrick who finds the match-winning one. He gets the better of Steve Hine by 4 legs to 2. Relief on the face of the Belgian more than anything else, whilst the Muffin Man will walk back down the stage wondering how he's lost that encounter. Where it's the 2 from 20 on the doubles that you can see in your screen there, which is the contributing factor as to why. Hendrick off the mark with a 4-2 win. Coming up after the break, Tom Lonsdale, the man who came so close to winning Group A, takes on the favourite to win Group B, Scotty Dog Mitchell. Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where before the break, Stefan Hendrick got the better of Steve Hine by 4 legs to 2, an average of 81.25, 4 from 15 on the doubles. But the story really was a case of missed opportunities from Steve Hine, 2 from 20 on the outer ring in that one. And he'll be wondering whether that was a case of what if in that game. But seconds out, game 2 for us, and it sees Scott Mitchell in action, the 54-year-old from Dorset, 2015 world champion. And of course, part of our commentary team here at the Super Series is Scotty Dog. But we should remember he's the England captain and a player brewing to do stuff on the circuit, up against a player whose stock has definitely risen over the last year or so. Tom Lonsdale, the 27-year-old from Bridgewater, a winner of an ADT Tour event in both 2023 and 2024. Actually, the only player to have done so in both of those years. And a player who we've seen in terms of the last year or so really, really progress at a real attainable level.
Yeah, I think it's very fair to say that Tom's been trending in the right direction. As for this week, I think he's just stuttered a little bit over the last couple
First
of days.
leg, it's Scott to throw first. Game on.
What he would like to do over the next couple of nights is trend towards Saturday. The last thing he wants to do is have to go back to Bridgewater come Saturday morning. He wants to be going back on Sunday with a very big smile on his
81.
face.
Well, forget about Bridgewater. There was a case of a lack of glass of water on the stage before that one got underway. We've already had Watergate once this week.
98.
And it was a game involving Tom Lonsdale, wasn't it, against Simon Adams, when Simon decided, do you know what, Tom's not drinking his water, I'm done with mine, I'm going to tip some of his into my glass.
100.
Do you think the odds were justified that Mitchell was a comfortable favourite for this group?
I think it's probably representative where I think he's at the minute and where the other players
58.
are at in this present moment in time. Mike Van Duivenbode is a complete unknown quantity, so we'll see how the night develops for him. But the last time Mitchell was here, he won 14 out of 15 in the Group A and only got knocked out by Bo Greaves on the week where she became the first player to win every single match in a
100.
week. And in terms of the Challenge Tour, knocking on the door, the seniors will feel like he should have had one of those match play qualifying spots. Something's happening here.
80.
When you're constantly knocking on the door and you're not getting through to be the last person standing, that will do one of two things. It'll make you wilt, or it will make you stronger for success.
81.
I do get the feeling that Scott is the second of those two. By the way, this afternoon, many congratulations to Mike De Decker on his first PDC title.
79.
He is
Scotty
ecstatic
require 139.
at the expense of Ricky Evans, who is one of those players who's constantly been knocking on the door but hasn't got through it yet.
Well, Mitchell here's got 139 to take up this
99.
first leg. He's going to leave himself tops upon his return. It's a slow start here for Lonsdale, who has to very quickly put the disappointments of
140.
yesterday to the back of the mind.
Scotty
Left himself on a
require 40.
two-darter, but Mitchell first poke at tops.
Didn't like that very much, did he?
20.
He won't like all
Tommy
three.
require 46.
And it presents Lonsdale with the break opportunity here. 10 for double 18 to take out the first leg. Now double 9.
37.
Two tries that come and gone, and the
Scott,
story
you
this
require
evening has
20.
been missed doubles. We saw 18 missed by Steve Hine in his game against Stefan Hendrick. Mitchell's already spurned free at the outer ring, but he's not going to
Game
mess
shot
about
of
with
first
dart
leg,
4.
Scott Mitchell.
And Scotty Dog's up and running. He leads 1-0.
Second leg, it's Tom to throw first. Game on.
Now that we've got one game completed in, we're
95.
getting pretty comfortable with game 2 here. Who do you think will be the 3 going through to Saturday at this early stage, Henry? Because I piped for Lonsdale, for Mitchell, and Hine.
I think when we spoke earlier on this
60.
afternoon about it, I was in agreement with you. If I can rectify the double problem out, he scored well enough to be well in the mix, but it's that doubles that's going to be a lingering
43.
problem. And Stefan's just beginning to click together. I think he could be an interested party. And with Mike, as we've said, we just don't know where he's at. And I think we just need a couple of games to really judge where the level is at this present moment in time.
I think he could be dangerous because some people may never have heard of him. We have.
134.
We know that he can play well. But it's a question of which version of Mike turns up. But sometimes you say better the devil you know than the devil you don't. I think for these players, when they're up against him, they have to expect the best version of a player that they haven't seen for a while. It might be the same for these two.
59.
These two might have run into each other quite a lot recently. But if they haven't, and you think to yourself before you play, I don't know what kind of form they're in. Expect them at their best. It doesn't matter whether they are at their best, but you always expect them to play at their best.
60.
That brings out the best
Tommy
in you.
require 170.
We've not really seen a scare with a big fish so far this week. But that could change here. The bullseye for Lonsdale.
145.
Grazes the 25. Couldn't reel it in. And so Mitchell, 141 to double his lead.
Didn't really get close to the 57.
133.
That's a lovely
Tommy
layup.
required 25.
Somebody else who's employing the 54 and the 62.
Game shot on
That's
the
exactly
second
what
leg.
Tom needs.
Lonsdale.
Needs to be sharp on the doubles. He is someone who has attained a
Third
very
leg,
high
it's
level
Scott
here
to
at the
throw
Modus Super
first.
Series before.
Game on.
Hasn't really shown that level this week. Not many have. In fact, nobody's averaged 100 yet. Why do you think that is?
140.
I know it's a really easy question to ask. Is it conditions? Is it the players? Is it something else?
57.
I don't want to sound like a cop-out here when I answer this question. And my answer is not meant in a cop-out way. However, it feels like there is a mixture between both of those elements because there's been a lot of games. We saw it this afternoon between... We talk about stars making matches. There was a lot of games this afternoon where the two didn't really meet in the middle. Add in the conditions. It's hard enough to play in the heat, and you'd know, from your time,
96.
particularly playing in Australia, that it's not an easy thing to do. And so you marry the two up, and it does make life difficult.
Yeah, it does. It's not about quality. It's just about getting the job done. I can go back to January of 2009. I played a tournament in New South Wales at a place called Punch Bowl. I'll remember it forever because they measured the temperature inside. It was 54 degrees. They couldn't turn the air conditioning on because it wrecked the darts flight. My dart shirt at the time was stuck to me. I had no choice. I just played. It was the most uncomfortable tournament I've ever played in my life. But it's the same in any warm to hot country at the peak heat time of the year.
47.
Go to places like Serbia and to places in Eastern Europe and Central Europe at the minute. The temperatures are sickeningly hot. Imagine playing tournaments in
74.
Austria right now.
Scott, you require
It would
74.
be really, really worse than this.
Again, Mitchell's got time. There's been some slow legs here from Lonsdale. Mitchell looking to pick the pieces up. And move 2-1 up in this
Scott
contest.
Mitchell.
Halfway towards the victory post. He has got some support this evening in the YouTube chat room. Marvin van Velzen,
Flag. It's
a
Tom to
player
throw
we're
first.
going to see
Game
very
on.
soon here at the Super Series.
Tease.
Yep. You know what that means, everybody.
100.
He's tuning in this evening. Now, I think Scott and Marvin have played with each other, and they would have known each other from the international circuit as well. So it's very much a player once you get to know, and we're very lucky that we get to know him in a different capacity. He's somebody that becomes very much a friend
41.
very quickly, and is a very popular person on the circuit.
I think he enjoyed his debut on the European Tour a couple of months ago.
97.
Marvin, wow.
Why not? That was a great performance.
And Scott's at that stage of his career where, yes, he wants individual success, and the flame still flickers quite brightly. And I suppose
60.
it's an interesting thing because obviously he stepped more into a media role, and you did something likewise towards the latter end of of your career. Is there
42.
Can there be a mindset change when you move into this side whilst you're still an active player when you're playing?
Yes, absolutely. I can say that hand on heart because I did that in 2018. I played half the time, I commentated the other half of the time. It was the busiest year of my entire life.
140.
But when you're playing, the mentality was, I'm taking a break from doing the media side. And when you're doing the media, you're taking a break away from the playing side.
69.
That little bit of variety can take you an awfully long way. Having said that, with Scott, he's got a farm to run.
And this is the busiest time of the year,
140.
as he told me the last time he was sat here in the commentary box.
I do wonder if he ever sleeps. Even if
57. Scott, you require
there were 28 hours in the day, he'd probably find more to do.
He's got work to do if he's going to win this leg right here, right now, but that's the first step on the ladder. Tops of the 120. And that would have been for the breaking 3-1. But Lonsdale has been left in the lurching legs, and his chances have been big ones. It was the 170 last time. It's the 136 this time. And just like previously, he's unable to take. And so Mitchell's back for 3 more.
40.
What did you say to me that Mitchell's going to do tonight? He's going to average 90.
Game shot on a 4th
Well, right
leg.
now,
Scott Mitchell.
he's averaging just a shade under 90. But it's good enough for a 3-1 lead.
5th leg. It's Scott to throw first. Game on.
After playing against Simon Adams for the last 3 days, Lonsdale should be very much in tune with playing someone who's just a little bit more deliberate.
121.
I think this is going to be a really tough couple of nights. If this is the way he's starting off, where do his points come from?
58.
And the last time he was in a Group B situation, the 4 players he was up against, it was horrendous. So much quality on show. He played well and finished 5th.
121.
But Mitchell going about his business. Probably watched on by his England teammate and scallywag himself, Cameron Crabtree.
Did you just call Crabtree a scallywag?
Yes.
Good luck at next time you see him. I feel to think what he's calling you.
43.
I'm sure I've been called it a few times.
Oh, Mitchell is within 3 trebles of a match-winning double. And with Lonsdale not leaving a finish yet,
93.
it's going to be 6 starts from here. Mitchell's the kind of guy who can close this out in 4 to 6 darts.
Well, this is where he does come into his own, is when it comes to that finishing line. And this is where a lot of the work around about a decade ago was to
83.
improve, was he had that innate natural ability, but he just didn't have, at that time, he's admitted himself that maybe composure at points to finish a match off, and that's when he saw the
55.
sports psychologist. And so this now has become his strong suit when once before it was a weakness.
And someone who does ask for help to improve something like that, they get my vote. Because why, if you are ambitious, would you not do something that would make you better? Ask that of yourself in anything you do. Why would you not do something to improve yourself? Why would you remain stubborn and do nothing about it? Mitchell is a great example of, I saw weakness, I strengthened it, I'm a world champion, Nina.
Tops of the match, tops of the win, and that was a typically Scott Mitchell performance. Average of 90, 36% on the doubles, and he gets the better of Tom Lonsdale by 4 legs to 1. Starting as he means to go on, the former world champion. For Tom Lonsdale, he'll be hoping that there is a slight improvement of performance. That the tail of the tape then from our second match of the evening session. Coming up afterwards, we're going to see Mike van Duivenbode, who's making his debut here at the Super Series. A long-awaited return to the hockey for him against Steve Hine, who's already lost tonight.
Welcome to the party in Portsmouth here at the Modus Live Lounge.
They've both got the talent where they can just reel off leg after leg and dish out a heavy defeat. What a way to start the day. We're up and running here on Champions Week with a maximum.
But what a way to finish. A 12-dart leg.
Beautiful check out there from Cam Crabtree.
Only
needs the one.
Game shot on the second leg. Darius
What were you saying about efficiency?
Shot on the third leg. Reece
Is that
Robinson.
the moment that Reece Robinson comes alive in this crucial clash? Looks like he's going to go for it. And it is right next to his favourite double top. And he gets the job done at the earliest possibility. That is Cam Crabtree through.
Case not so. Harrison gets the all-important win.
Game shot on the second leg. Darius Labanowski. Game shot.
Ross Smith, is it a
Darius Labanowski.
9? A long time. And that clenched fist.
Game shot.
Oh, he gets the job done in the end. He's nodding in total agreement because
Game shot on the fourth leg.
Just
Darius
like that.
Labanowski.
only needs the one. There you can see.
So that she can unlock at any moment, but that is quality from Harrison. This would be a wake-up.
Welcome to the party in Pompey. Should be a good marker for him, and is. It was a great dive.
Shot on the first leg. Andreas
It's a
Harrison.
breaker throw for Andres Harrison.
Shot on the second leg. Cam Crabtree.
Consecutive breaker throw. Double 16 is found.
And he does lead. It's not an 11, but it's a beautiful 12, treble 17, which he gets. Bullseye for the win. Absolutely incredible by Andreas Harrison.
He's Andreas Dirty Harrison.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series here. Before the break, Scott Mitchell got his campaign off and running with a 4-1 win against Tom Lonsdale. And by the end of this game, he would have seen all of the 12 runners as far as Super Series Week 9 in Series 8 is concerned. And it's that man in your picture, Mike van Duivenbode, who will take to the stage. The 25-year-old Dutchman, twice a winner on the development tour, and the Pigeon is looking to lurk and pick up the pieces in Portsmouth come the end of Saturday evening. Pigeons are usually good at doing that in Portsmouth. Up against Steve Hine, the 55-year-old from Coventry, the Muffin Man, former UK Open quarter-finalist. But I feel like this game will, particularly for a lot of people's interest, be about what we see from Mike, a very good youth player, winner of a couple of development tour titles, has spent some time away from the sport, now looking to rebuild himself, has been given a wild card selection from ADC Europe to play here, and we're going to see what kind of nick he's in.
Yeah, I'm really keen to see what kind of nick he is in. When he was on the tour a few years ago,
64.
we were all very excited about the possibility of both Van Duivenbodes going great guns. They all spelt differently, and they're not related. But just to give you an indication of what Mike has done in his career, it's not just him getting through Q school on one occasion and having a couple of years on the tour.
100.
He did win the Dutch Open Youth event in 2014, and he beat Brian Roman in that final. That's the start of the journey. Came through Q school back in 2019. And he did win on the development tour twice, like you mentioned. That was back in 2017.
125.
In his first win on the development tour, he beat Adam Hunt in the final. En route to that, players like Kenny
96.
Nayans, Reece Colley, who has won a week here. Nico Kurtz, someone who's had great experiences at Alexandra Palace.
180.
And if you want a little slice of what he can do, How about the fact that that same year in 2017, he won a development tour title and beat Dimitri Vandenberg in the final.
100. Steve, you require 96.
Current UK Open champion.
Well, this bit has been the problem for Steve Hine. The scoring
33.
hasn't been an issue, but
Mike, you require
it's been when it's come to the
141.
finishing where he has had some troubles. He's hoping he'll get some time in his hands. If there's a return, there will be a return. 63 is what he's looking at to break the throw in the opening lane, but he missed 18 darts for the
65.
double, 2
Steve, you
from
require
20
63.
in his defeat to Stefan Hendrick in game 1. It's a record he has to improve upon here, and he's going to get his first go at a
31.
double. It was double 16, and
Mike,
it's
you
a dart
require
that's missed.
76.
Keep it simple from here. Nice single. Shot at tops.
36.
Very well thrown, but
Steve, you
not
require
in the bed.
32.
Can he get clean on this double 16?
Game shot on
Goes in at a
first
very
leg,
different
Steve
angle, but at
Hine.
least it's in.
1-0 leads. Steve Hine, one up with the break of
Second
throw. Though
leg, it's
interesting
Steve to
tack
throw
on the
first.
63,
Game on.
going treble 15 was the aim target with the first dart. That would have left double 9 if he hit.
Yeah, I can't say I've seen that one before.
85.
Ask Marino Blom, he probably tried it once or twice.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Just looking through the record of Van Duivenbode when he was playing in Players' Championship events.
79.
Never made the last 16. It's really tough to play in 2019. Everybody was so excited
60.
about the future, and then come 2020, his second year, it was a year that was completely obliterated by COVID. Essentially, his second year of Pro Tour action was limited to some darts at the start of the season,
140.
the summer series, the autumn series, and the winter series.
100.
He actually didn't play past the summer series. He decided to stop after that and take a break. And that summer series was a bit of an eye-opener for a lot of people, playing 5 Players'
100.
Championship events in 5 days. And some people did say it just felt like too much, especially when they hadn't played for a
60.
period of months.
It was a case of famine towards a feast of darts, but it would have felt all too much. He did make a return at the Dutch Open early on this year, did Mike? Went fairly deep in that
96.
competition. Lost out in a last leg decider to Ariane Compton, but some of the performances he put in during the
96.
course of that competition
Mike, you
were
require
very,
86.
very promising. He actually got through to the last 16 of the Dutch Open early one this year, which is a very good guide because that is a very tough tournament.
Double 8.
Game shot on the
Equaliser
second
for
leg,
Mike.
Mike Van Duivenbode.
He is walking, talking proof that you
Third
can
leg,
pretty
it's
much
Mike
have
to
any
throw
nickname you
first.
like in darts.
Game on.
He's called the Pigeon. Not even sure why.
60.
Give me 3 obscure darting nicknames that you wouldn't get in any other sport.
40.
The Pigeon's got to be one of them.
Frosty the Throwman. To be honest, half of this group, the Muffin Man, maybe you'd have a Scotty Dog, I don't know. But Mr. Chips,
60.
Frite
I think in pool, is it Earl the Pearl Strickland?
in the 9-ball.
60.
Well, put it this way, only in darts could somebody have the temerity to have a nickname such as the King of the Castle. Or the Lord of the Board.
Yeah, I like the Lord of the Board. I think it's a great nickname.
100.
Oh, I like that a lot. Steve Hine doesn't.
Once had somebody call themselves the Master, but we won't talk anymore about
60.
that.
I used to have some different nicknames before I was the asset, you know. Some of them were terrible. One was given to me. I was called Austin at the start.
102.
Because I used to have these glasses before I had surgery. And they made me look like Austin Powers.
100.
That's why some of my older pals who used to play count with me still call me Austin.
Mike, you require
I
99.
think even Steve Hine remembers that. In my first winning appearance for Northumberland against his county of Warwickshire. Oh,
Shot on the
hello.
third leg, Mike van Duivenbode.
Anybody want a flake in it? Obviously, Mike van Duivenbode does.
Fourth
Welcome to
leg, it's Steve
Portsmouth.
to throw first.
There's an
Game
issue.
on.
I won't put a flake on a muffin.
Well, I'd rather have a flake on
43.
a muffin than a pigeon. Although you can actually make pigeon with a chocolate sauce. We're here for the next couple of nights, folks. It's going to be entertaining.
100.
Seriously didn't know whether that second dart was in the 60. Because the darts are going all the way in and making the point disappear.
41.
Like Henry said, this is not the
80.
problem. The scoring has been fine. But the doubles are a problem. What are we learning at the start of this match? And the start of this campaign?
140.
Because I am already impressed. He looks pretty sharp.
100.
I say, the last recorded darts you have from it is that Dutch Open, and then that's a tournament with 3,000 plus entries and some of the best players we've had a tour card in the world playing. To get through to the last 16 of that,
93.
you have to have serious credential, and to do that, his last recorded tournament before was 3 years prior. So to go
98.
completely cold
Mikey
turkey,
Require,
the pigeon, into
87.
that, well, that's some achievement.
You just had cold turkey and pigeon in the same sentence. I am all over that. I'm very impressed. Bullseye, anybody? Apparently
Shot on the
so.
fourth leg, Mike van Duivenbode.
Now, those odds at the start of the night, Henry, do they look a little bit silly all of a sudden?
Fifth leg.
Well, we
it's
have
Mike to
said
throw
that players that are
first.
fifth favourites to win
Game
the group
on.
today have had prices that are a little bit questionable. Thomas Banks, 15-2 earlier on. Mike van Duivenbode, the outsider, at 13-2 fifth favourite.
42.
But he's playing very well here. 91 the average, 60% on the doubles. And this is the thing, we did not know really what we were going to get from Mike. He's the unknown
140.
quantity. He's not played much recently. But it's felt like, to a certain extent, he's never been away.
Just playing with a lovely fluid action.
59.
Great extension of the arm. Doesn't give a great deal away. Fabulous temperament.
100.
Who knows? This ADC wildcard might be the find of the summer. We just don't know what happens from here. The snowball effect can be enormous.
40.
Look at Raymond Smith when he came here. We all knew he had the reputation. We thought there's possibilities there. He came over with Ben Robb. He qualified.
83.
Came back. He smashed through the field and won the final on that Saturday night against Matt Clark. We haven't seen him since. But what a story it was when he won Series 2.
And there is a player, isn't
59.
there? Every single series that we unearth from the pack. Tom Sykes a couple of series ago. Jimmy Van Schie
60.
last time out. Mike van Duivenbode maybe could be that player this time around. Although we do have a long, long way to go. And there could be still a way to go in this game because Hines left himself first to a finish against the throw to bring it back to within a leg.
Well, people should be motivated
60.
and inspired
Stevie
by the
Require,
winners of series.
118.
I know everybody in Scandinavia was very much buoyed by the fact that Harrison was so brilliant, but
Game
that is
shot
a
on the
double
fifth
hit
leg, Steve
at the
Hine.
first time of asking, and you saw his borderline frustration of hitting the ton plus
Sixth leg, it's
checkout.
Steve to throw first.
He's wondering where they've
Game
been.
on.
If you go through every single series winner, there's motivation wherever you look. Whitehead,
60.
I think he motivated every single person in England when he won that against Graham Usher. Everybody started talking about Super Series in Australia when Raymond Smith won. It became
100.
mainstream news when Littler was a double champion. McEwen, Scott Taylor,
60.
what he was doing by winning Series 6, he proved to people who had been around a long time that if they work hard enough, they can get a big check and some glory. That's what he proved. And that is someone I believe that Steve Hine can look at and say, I can do that.
Let's not forget that Steve Hine is at the stage of his career where he
100.
can play the seniors and he can have some successes that way. And we've seen for, I know Richie Houghton, the big example, but other players like Paul Hogan, Matt Clark, that there is a second pathway in the sport towards the latter end of a career.
91.
And he's in a position here where he got himself back in the match. He got the break of throw, but he
83.
may have felt like that
Mikey require
ascendancy which he was building up in the
170.
previous leg has been let slip, because Van Duivenbode has 6 here for 170 to get the job done. And he's going to need the 6.
96.
His darts are going in with such authority. And if I might add, not too much authority. They're not thudding in the board.
45.
It's such a lovely upright
requires
to neutral
74.
angle that he can use very well. And this is for his first win in Portsmouth. It will be double top.
34. Steve, you require
Not quite to be, and so Hine
153.
will be back for 153 to take us all the way to a deciding leg. He's already had the 118 in this match. He's not going to have a second consecutive ton topper,
121.
but he's piled
Mikey
the pressure
require
on
40.
if Van Duivenbode misses more match darts. One left. And
shot.
finds it.
And the match,
And Mike Van Duivenbode, who announces himself on the Super Series stage with a win on debut. He gets the better of Steve Hine by 4 legs to 2. And it means that the unknown quantity is very much now known to the field. The Pigeon off to a flying start. As to Steve Hine, when he's already chasing his tail a little bit because he's played 2 matches and lost 2 matches. He's going to have to, you feel, win both of his last games of the evening to really keep himself in the mix. Van Duivenbode 4-2 winner against Steve Hine. Coming up after the break, the 2 other winners so far this evening go toe-to-toe, Hendrick and Mitchell. Welcome back to the live lounge here in Portsmouth, where we have seen a real day of darts here at the Modus Super Series. We saw a marathon Group C session, and we're in the midst here of a Group B session, which is beginning just to bubble up a little bit. Before the break, Mike van Duivenbode got the better of Steve Hine by 4 legs to 2. That's despite Hine taking out a 118 checker in the middle of the piece to bring it back to 3-2. But van Duivenbode on debut, getting over the line. As for these two, well, they're already winners this evening. Scott Mitchell and Stefan Hendrick. Hendrick getting over the line against Steve Hine by 4 legs to 2, whilst Mitchell a 4-1 winner against Tom Lonsdale. And it's fair to say that Mitchell's performance in that win against Tom probably was the performance of this evening so far.
Unquestionably. I think it was very tidy.
First leg, it's Stefan to throw first. Game on.
And that's how I would categorise his form at the minute. It is very tidy. And if you're going to beat Scott Mitchell at the minute, you've got to play well.
81.
If you walk up to the hockey and average 82, you're not going to beat him. 85, you're relying on him having a bit of an off game. But if you average 90 plus against him,
43.
you have a chance.
As for Stefan,
54.
a lot of that win primarily came down to picking up on chances that Steve Hine had gift wrapped to him. The Muffin Man missing 18 darts at a double against him, but sometimes you just got to be there and thereabouts, and when the misses
60.
come, you've got to take advantage of that.
Especially in this format. You're going to play against 4 different opponents.
134.
And you're going to play them twice. Imagine how Steve is going to feel playing against Stefan in the final group game come Saturday morning. He's going to remember that he missed all those darts now. And maybe Stefan can use that
100.
come the right time.
$65.
He's been bugging me all week what kind of darts they are that Mr. Chips has got. Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody, because I'm not up on all of the equipment that's out there right now with all of the manufacturers. I'm not that much of a darts geek.
96. Stefan, you require 167.
But they look like James Wade darts to me, with the end shaved
60.
off. I don't know whether that manufacturer has actually brought out a version with the ending on the dart like that, but maybe this is a tailored dart which has been customed to him, because that kind of service is available these days.
38. Stefan, you require 107.
Well, Scott Mitchell's still looking to turbo up the tractor in this first leg. Hendrick looking for the 107 to
47.
win leg 1. He
Scott, you
leaves
require
himself on a single to double.
164.
Should he come back? Well, this would be some way to fire Scotty Dog into life if he can pin the 164, but he's not going to take it out, and so Hendrick back for 60 to take out the opening leg.
100. Stefan, you require 60.
If you miss, Mitchell will hit.
Game shot of
He
first
doesn't
leg,
miss, though.
Stefan Hendrick.
As the week goes on, we are starting to believe some of the words we've heard
Second leg, it's
from our
Scott to throw
Benelux
first.
friends,
Game
who've
on.
been saying that Hendrick is pretty useful. Now, if you look at the challenge to our averages list, it gives us a little bit of insight.
100.
He's in the top 50 of the averages at 85.7. That's not terrible.
60.
He's only 6 places behind Tom Lonsdale in that list. Let's see who else is around that sort of ballpark. Adam Paxton, weekly winner. Is that a bit of a sign?
60.
How about Alex Spellman? He's had some good times here. Alexander Mertz, someone who we haven't seen in a while here.
100.
But he's won a weekly title here. And need I say any more? Aidan Kirk, who's in very, very good form at the minute And Stefan Hendrick is averaging very similar to him on the
100.
Challenge Tour. I think that's a pretty good barometer.
Yeah, Aidan Kurt, the captain, showing that the bicycle isn't quite rusty. That's the name of his
140.
storybook that he wrote, Rusty the Old Bicycle.
You're going to have to tell me more about that.
Oh, don't worry, we'll divulge.
$100.
Classic ton there from Mitchell. Wasn't necessarily a good visit, that, until the last start.
57. Scott, you require
Again, it shows the mentality of
141.
what a ton can do if the treble comes with the last dart. He's himself 141. He's not going to take it out, but he'll hope that Hendrick has got a 144 in the locker. If the truth be told, it hasn't really had too much in terms of the
41.
big
Stefan, you require
finishes this week, is
144.
Hendrick.
Yeah, Hendrick's biggest finish, 123.
96. Scott, you require 100.
Came towards the end of his Group A campaign as well, where he was only 28% on doubles for the entire 3-day campaign.
It has to be said here, the difference between Performance 1 and Performance 2 have been
44.
day
Stefan, you
and night
require
for
48.
Scott Mitchell. And so far this evening, Hendrick has made a habit of picking up on pieces.
28.
He's unable to take
Scott,
out
you
the tops
require
there. And so
56.
Mitchell will return to level this game up at 1-1. A game, realistically, he should be 2-0 down in. He's going to get 2 darts at tops.
16.
Doesn't take it.
Stefan, you require
And so Hendrick
20.
will return for 3 more at double 10. He's had to ride his luck at times tonight, Stefan. There's been no doubt about that.
Game
But
shot on his
when
second leg,
opportunity
Stefan
knocks, he
Hendrick.
opens the door and opens up a 2-0 lead.
I want you to pay attention
Third leg.
to
it's
the
Stefan
right
to throw first.
fingertips
Game on.
of this guy throwing. You're not going to see much of it because he throws the dart really quickly. But look
123.
at the middle finger, the index finger, and the thumb when he's throwing. He rolls the dart inside his fingertips and twists it as he throws.
100.
I beg you to try that just once or twice. Very, very hard thing to do. And every now and again, he's going to get a dart that comes out of his hand wrong and it'll go in too flat.
60.
It is not something you would teach. What you would teach is what Mitchell does. Back and through. Not necessarily with the hand opening up at the same time,
100.
but not twisting the dart in the fingertips or the fingers as you throw it, because it just promotes inconsistency.
44.
It obviously works best for him, though. There have been people in the past who have got over dartitis by doing that. Mark Walsh, Mervyn King, and they've measured
140.
the twist in their fingers to give them a bit of extra comfort.
100.
Could be a twist in the tail
Scott, you
here.
require
Mitchell's got
161.
161 to half the arrears, and he would bring the game back on throw. There's a break opportunity here for the former Lakeside champ. You may remember when he
57.
just dropped off the Pro Tour, he got the automatic call up to the Circus Tavern World Seniors Championship. Went off as a lot of people's favourite to win
60.
that event.
Scott, you require 104.
He could still win it. It's going to be double 16 for Big Scott.
Game shot on the third
Very well
leg,
planted.
Scott Mitchell.
He's back in this match now. Immediate break back.
Fourth leg. It's Scott to throw
Still
first.
got a great deal of patience.
Game on.
I don't think that anybody who commentates an awful lot on this, when they go on the stage, I don't think they feel additional pressure because of that. I can say that I haven't played on that stage for nearly 2 years.
60.
I don't know if Chris Mason felt additional pressure, but he's the one who's gone up there and won a week and made a champions night. You might have to ask Matthew Edgar.
68.
Or Glenn. Or Laura.
I think Matt and Scott probably are the two best barometers, because I think with Chris Mason's one, it was a comeback after a long time, and I think he kind of
60.
went a massive crest of the wave and really built momentum quickly. But I can imagine it, and we mentioned it before, when you play the circuit, one thing you don't want to do as a commentator is, if you say
60.
something about a player and you've got a player in the next week, that does linger in the back of the opponent's mind.
In theirs it does, but we talk so much that sometimes we forget what we say.
Sometimes we wish we forget what we said.
100.
You say what's on your mind, you give your opinion, and you live with it. First rule of commentary, don't lie.
55.
Such as we're having a great night here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth.
We're having a great time. It's been a good night so far. Are we any the wiser as to who's going to be top of the table by the end of the night? Not really. But I have been really impressed
60.
with Mike van Duivenbode. I think even with an average of 85 there, that gives us an indication of what we could get over the next 3 games from him. And
60.
I am really keen to see him play against Lonsdale next.
Could just be the joker in the pack. But Mitchell here is slowly turning the tide in his favour. He was 2-0 down, and he looked like he was in a real spot of bother and in a real bit of trouble, if the truth be told. But he's wrestled the game back
44.
in his favour. However, what he's done there with that pool visit is just offered up a bit of an opening to Hendrick.
Neither player has played well in this game.
42.
See? We can't lie. Statistics prove it.
It's felt like another one of those games this week where two styles just haven't corresponded in the middle.
Yeah, that's fair.
137.
Hendrick wants to get on with it. Mitchell wants to be patient.
$60.
I can understand that.
require
I hated
40.
playing fast players. I was closer to Mitchell's pace than to Hendrick's. And that is not close to tops. Wow, that nearly bust the score.
30. Stefan,
From
you
dart
require
one, nothing
156.
about that looked likely. And Hendrick really could nick this leg here. But he strays wide into the treble one on the 156. And so Mitchell
83.
is going to get a
Scotty
chance to
require
square this game
10.
up from 2-0 down. He's going to get free in hand at double 5. Hendrick poised in the background to break. But he's not going to get the
It's on the
chance.
full flag,
An in
Scott
off there from
Mitchell.
Scott Mitchell. He levels up at 2-2. And he gives that board a good old stare down and a good old telling off.
Fifth
He should
flag,
know
it's
better than
Stefan
that.
to the
Come on, Scott.
first.
You know the
Game on.
dartboard only receives what you give it. We always take it out on something, or start players. We always think something's to
140.
blame. I think it's just in our DNA. That double 5 should have been a bit higher. That double 10 should have been a bit further left. We haven't changed the position of the board.
140.
It's just the competitive spirit of the players. That's all it is. It's nothing sinister.
85.
It's not as if Scott's going to go up and punch the board. No, that already happened. Colin Lloyd did that. That poor board.
60.
Poor Bruce Bentley, who was nearly caught in the middle of the crossfire. We're in the middle of the crossfire here. 2-2 between Hendrick
43.
and Mitchell. And it's now one of those nights where we're getting a lot of tight matches. I haven't seen a 4-3 yet.
I think you're about to.
We've seen 2 4-2s, and Mitchell's win against Lonsdale was by the margin of 4-1. Mitchell won't care. Hendrick won't care about the scoreline or the margin as long as they get over the line.
121.
Great dart 3 following the slip into the single 1. Had to move over and readjust and did so perfectly.
95.
There's some good ball management there from Stefan.
100.
Well, it's a ton, but
you require 138.
again, like earlier in the match, it's one high, one low, one in the target. And I'm not just talking about small margins. There's a good
98.
centimetre between each one.
Scott, you require 80.
Well, we have now reached a big passage in play. Hendrick is sat poised on tops to lead 3-2. Mitchell's going to have 2 at double 10 to break and lead by that scoreline himself.
60.
Both of those darts at double 10 graze the
Stefan,
wire.
you
Has a
require
look
40.
around to see how it's not gone in.
For heaven's sake, that was sickeningly close.
20.
They
Scott,
do
you
not
require
register,
20.
but now Mitchell gets another crack to break the throw.
3 more at double 10, and again it's close to the wire. But this time he
Game shot on the
finds
fifth
it's
leg,
low in the
Scott
corner,
Mitchell.
but Mitchell won't care. He gets the break, he leads 3-2, and now has the darts here
Sixth leg.
to seal a
It's Scott to
4-2
throw
win. It'll be
first.
his second consecutive
on.
win to start the night.
You do realise that this game is like a baseball match, don't you?
100.
You can go to any baseball field in the United States or Canada and you get a dog and
60.
fries. You ever been to a baseball field?
Do you know what? I haven't, but it's on the to-do list. I've done American football, and that's the crazy day out.
Yeah, baseball's fun.
Went to BC Place
78.
to watch the BC Lions in action in the Grey Cup, which is the Canadian Football League.
You went to watch CFL?
95.
Yep. And I tell you what, it's a better experience than what a lot of people make it out to be.
I saw the Steelers versus the Vikings at Wembley in 2013. That would have been a perfect experience had the Steelers won.
43.
I can imagine Mitchell being an NFL fan, you know, but he's a Speedway guy, isn't he? And he actually commentates on Speedway as well.
100.
Indeed he does. In his spare time, commentates on Pool Pirates matches, and I tell you what, he does give it some as well when he's on comms for that.
Well, let's face it, that's another job he does.
60.
We need to badger him some free tickets, don't we?
You can do that. I've never been to Speedway. I can imagine it'll be fun.
42.
Live motorsport is an exhilarating experience. Well, it hasn't quite been Speedway for Scott Mitchell, but he's finding a way of winning this match.
83.
2-0 behind, he's been the better player.
I think his scoring pack in this match tells you a lot about what he's done. A lot of one treble visits.
100.
13 of
Scott,
them.
you require
And in fact,
137.
in 6 legs of play, he's only had two treble visits.
But that's just so systematic of him, isn't it?
97.
Reliability and
Stefan,
that
you
kind of
require
range.
104.
He's left himself tops of the match, and Hendrick now has to take out the 104. He's been backpedaling for a couple of legs, but he could square up. He does
Game
square
shot on the
up.
sixth
He
leg.
finds the
Stefan
104.
Hendrick.
When Mitchell was sat on tops of the match, he sends us all the way, does the Belgian.
7th and final leg. It's Stefan to throw first. Game on.
Told you we were going to get a 7th leg.
81.
Week number 9 in Series 8 may go down as the week we had the most 4-3s ever.
Well, both players have now had a 104 finish in this match.
100.
Both players are on 3 legs. Who's going to blink first in this decider?
Well, now Mitchell has got double the amount of ton plus scores as his opponent. It's 14-7.
60.
They've both got two 140s and no 180s. But that one treble visit column is being obliterated by Scotty Dog.
100.
And there he goes again.
$85.
Who would you rather be? The half-dart lead? Or the person at the hockey right now? I would always take the 301.
121.
Especially if I do that.
Forcing Hendrick into doing something good here. And he's
60.
unable to suffice. That was an unlucky 60. It was a 60 close to the wire, but it's close but no cigar. And so Mitchell sets up, but this time he knows he's going to get a go. In the last leg, he left himself on top before Hendrick took out the 104.
41.
But he's unable to make any major inroads. And so passes the baton back to his Belgian opponent, who leaves himself on a 2-darter. And suddenly this game has swung on a pinhead. And suddenly it's Mitchell that's backpedaling.
Is Hendrick going to be the one to get the 4 points?
59.
If he clicks 75
Stefan, you
more,
require 75.
he's top of the table on his own.
Tops of the match.
35. Scott,
He's
you
had a
require
match start which
80.
comes and goes. Mitchell didn't get one in the last leg. He should get one here. Stays straight and now looks at tops. The target Hendrick's just missed for the match.
40.
And now Mitchell's blown a dart at
Stefan,
that
you
target.
require 40.
30% on doubles coming to this point. Can he finish the job before Mitchell gets another chance to do just that?
Game shot. and
No
the match,
mistake from
Stefan
Hendrick. Don't apologise. You won the game. And you're the player first to 4 points in this group. Stefan Hendrick gets the better of Scott Mitchell by 4 legs to 3 in a game that ebbed and flowed. The tide had turned on a few occasions. But it's Hendrick who gets over the line by 4 legs to 3. That 104 in leg 6 crucial. Mitchell sat on tops to win the match. Coming up after the break, Tom Lonsdale takes on Mike van Duivenbode.
Hang on a minute.
Wow! Oh my God! Well, that's £100 down the drain already. Itching to hit the 180. He's gone for the maximum.
18 for the ball. Ball.
53.
No, he said bull. That's a great first start from Adam. Oh, look at this. He's going to leave Scape.
Oh, can you believe it? That is unbelievable. Get match starts to put his team into the final. And through to the final they go. Charlie Murphy has hit the match-winning dart on both occasions. Double 4 for the title.
Game shot out the match. Please show your appreciation for the winner of the Influencer Pairs event, George Scaife and Adam Lipscomb.
He seems to be out. That's what he is. Charlie Murphy.
A couple more visits yet. We're not going to need that.
Bosh.
Pie faces through. He gets
And he's absolutely buzzing.
It was a game that Five Face dominated throughout.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where before the break, Stefan Hendrick got the better Scott Mitchell in a last leg decider, a 104, with his opponents out on tops of the match in leg 6, saw the game go all the way, and Hendrick held his nerve to get over the line. And so our middle match of the evening sees Tom Lonsdale and Mike van Duivenbode go toe-to-toe. Lonsdale, who finished second in Group A, lost out to Mitchell 4-1 in his opening match, whilst Mike, well, making a return to the big stage in front of the lights for the first time in a while when he got the better of Steve Hine by 4 legs to 2. Good performance, steady enough performance, 85 average, 4 from 9 on the doubles. But actually, if you break down the two performances, the averages weren't too far apart. So it'll be interesting to see how Tom Lonsdale can respond to the adversity of game 1.
41. Yeah, let's find out. I think it's really important for him to get off the mark pretty soon. Otherwise, he's going to be in the chasing pool at the bottom of the table.
93.
Mike wins this game. He goes to 4 points alongside Hendrick. And that would result in Lonsdale being on 0 with Hine
100.
and Scott Mitchell in 3rd on 2. I'm sure you saw the trailer, or should I say the synopsis of our last influencer event
96.
just before the start of this match. We actually are running our second influencer event fairly soon. Stay tuned to our social channels for more information, but we can reveal some of the participants of that influencer event. Earlier this evening on our TikTok account, we announced that Bradley Brooks is going to be involved, alongside the 5 influencers who have already been selected to take part.
41.
We've got Darts for Fun, who is going to be coming along with This Is FG, The Hull Boy, Oakle Fish, and maybe the most
23.
recognisable influencer of the list brought in for the influencer day so far. Angry Ginger's going to be here.
100.
If you were going to team Angry Ginger up with someone, Henry, surely it would be either Adam Paxton or Tom Sykes to make it a ginger double.
83. Tommy requires
Connor
79.
Hinahan.
Oh, that's true.
Well, this is double 11 for Lonsdale to take the lead.
57.
Doesn't go, but Van
Mikey
Duivenbode
require
all the way back at
158.
158. He's going to need to pull a rabbit out of the hat here. He may well pull a rabbit out of the hat. But he tried to pull a rabbit out of the hat, and all he got was a
98.
pigeon.
Tommy requires
Oh, come on,
22.
Henry, you can do better than that. He was trying to pull a
Game
pigeon
shot
out of the
first
chimney.
leg, Tom Lonsdale.
But he's 1-0 down. Decent start here from
Second
Tom.
leg, it's Mike to throw first. Game on.
Noticed our referee tonight is deciding to go without glasses.
140.
Maybe because of the extensive heat that has been permeating the live lounge here over the course of the day, but some players do not have an option.
140.
Should have gone Specsavers.
It's across the road.
60.
You know that phrase you said in the previous game, by the way? Close but no cigar. Do you know the root of that saying?
43.
Enlighten me.
Back in the early 20th century, they used to give out cigars as prizes at carnivals. And the carnies would say,
97.
if you were close but didn't get the prize, oh, close but no cigar. And it's permeated regular society over the last century.
84.
It's a bit like how we learnt about the sick as a chip.
We still haven't got to the bottom of that.
60.
We do like to get to the bottom of things here in Portsmouth. We like to not just bring you the darts, but the sayings that are used in all of sports commentary can be taken for granted.
134.
And sometimes you need to learn where they come from.
Mike, you require 144.
Oh, that'll do nicely.
113. Tom, you require 100.
Will this do nicely? Not nice enough.
41. Mike, you require 31.
And a mystery with the last start means he may have to spur one if he comes back. But it's 15 for double 8 for Van Duivenbode to square this game up. And he has a real efficient look about him this evening, does Mike Van Duivenbode. And you get the sense if a player's going to miss against him, that he's going to take full advantage.
Come on, folks, on the YouTube channel. We want to hear from you about darting nicknames.
59.
What's your favourite and what's your least favourite? When you've got people called the Pigeon, we want to know what else you like and don't like. Because let's face it, in this sport, we have got more
100.
different nicknames than any sport on earth. We've got ferrets, we've got pigeons, we've got aubergeniuses,
108.
we've got very cold men who can throw things. We've got ice men. We've got princes of Wales.
41.
Is there anything we don't have?
We even have a Prince of Darkness.
Very sinister, that,
28.
Isn't it? Yeah. Even have a King of the Castle.
Yeah, everybody get in touch. Let us know what you think.
140.
The Matchstick Man, I know it's a personal favourite of the boxing podcasts.
89.
You love to mention that podcast, don't you? Oh, what happened there? That one came out sideways. Just goes to show what happens to a world-class dart player when even they don't get their grip right.
54.
And in this heat and the conditions that we have
You
here
require
in
145.
Portsmouth this evening, that is something that may well happen more often than usual. The sweat and perspiration means that sometimes maybe the grip of the dart
55.
may be a bit more off-kilter than it would do maybe on a more sedate day in the autumn or the winter. Dart players will tell you they'll prefer to play in the cold than they will in the warm.
58. Tom, you require 90.
That's so true. Oh, another one of them, and it's a perfect marker.
Game shot.
Well
on the third
done,
leg. Tom Lonsdale.
That was a very gutsy finish, but maybe
Fourth flag.
he's
It's Mike
come
to
into
throw
this group
first.
with the mentality
Game
of,
on.
I'm going to go out there and have fun. And if that's what he wants to do, if it works, great.
60.
I'll be the first to congratulate him. Because after what happened in Group A, he must have felt a little bit sour.
59.
Sometimes you just have to go back to basics and just go back to the square root.
Mitchell Porthouse in the YouTube chat says, Mr. Court has got to be the worst. Well, Mitchell, you aren't wrong. That was awful.
Well, being called Mr. Coat wasn't even the worst bit.
140.
The actual court.
It was like something that was bought off of the George sale for £5.
60.
I'm pretty sure Les Dennis had a jacket like that in the 90s. And my local ice cream man.
Well, if you could have pulled that off, well, I would have given you the car myself. That's been for a few presenters, hasn't it? Vernon Kay, Gina De Campo,
83.
Bob Holness. Was it Bob Holness?
Bob Holness. He did Blockbuster.
85. Mike, you require 158.
Well, this was the biggest finish of the afternoon and is now the biggest of the week. That changed the entire
94. Tommy
campaign
require
for Scott
125.
Campbell. But neither number for these guys is going to change this leg
43.
right now. Will
Mikey
these
requires
smaller numbers,
64.
I wonder?
To square up. It's going to be one in his hand. Double 16.
Game shot on a full
Beautifully
flag. Mike
executed.
van
2-2 it
Duivenbode.
is. Lonsdale will not get a poke at the break.
Fifth flag. It's Tom to throw first. Game on. .41.
Heading towards the midway point of the night. Game 5 of 10.
140.
Between the man who could have called himself the Boot up against the man who calls himself the Pigeon.
83.
I am not joking when I say this. I have been genuinely just blown away by one of the comments in our YouTube chat from Connor Bickerton. I thought he was pulling my leg. I've just checked it out. He's absolutely right.
140.
He has said that Duivenbode in Dutch means pigeon messenger. And I thought,
47.
that cannot be true. But I've just used a search engine to check it, and that's what it means. Does that mean that Dirk is Dirk from Pigeon Messenger? Because Van means from. So it's Mike
130.
from Pigeon Messenger. Well, that can't be beat.
Well, the Pigeon Messenger may well be sending out an SOS here to Tom
Mikey
Lonsdale
require
because he's on the
91.
cusp of a break and he's got 6 starts and 91 to do exactly that. He may only need 2. This could be an 11-darter. This
Game
is
shot on the
really
fifth
good for
flag,
Mike van
Van
Duivenbode. 12-dart leg to break the throw. He leads 3-2 and is now a leg away from his
Sixth flag.
second
It's
win of the
Mike to throw
evening.
first. Game on.
Yeah, he looks pretty useful, doesn't he? Keeps doing this. I guarantee you he's not going to be the outsider for the group by the end of the night.
140.
We did see it, didn't we? When we were sitting in the studio just there.
60.
If we get some information about this guy in the first 2 games he plays, things are going to feel different, and they do.
Well, you can understand now why the bookies laid careful odds on Mike at the
77.
beginning of the week, because before a dart was thrown, he was 9-1 with the odds compilers to go on and take weekly glory. And I don't want to get too
57.
far ahead too soon, but you can see why they took a cautious approach with him, because what he's playing at is a very attainable level, a level which will see you competitive in most
100.
games here. 85 in game 1, 88 in game 2. The doubling has been a real focal point and a real strength for him. And he looks like he's got Lonsdale where he wants him, but Tom piles in a max.
Yeah, however, that max does not get him on level terms. The destination of the 2 points from this match, firmly in the grasp of the Dutchman. He
111.
has 1 bad dart in that visit. The other 2 were spectacular.
Needed to find a
100.
second
Mikey
realistically.
requires 73.
And so this is for his second consecutive win to kickstart the night. Tops to make
Game
it
shot
2
and the
wins
match,
of 2
Mike van
for Mike van Duivenbode. And the man whose last name means Pigeon Messenger is sending out a message to the field. He may have been away for a while, but he has come back in fine fettle. As for Tom Lonsdale, well, that's 2 games played, 2 defeats for him. Van Duivenbode a 4-2 winner in that contest. Good average, good doubling, a lot to like from his performances. He's at the top of the table at the halfway point of the night. Coming up after the break, we're going to see 2 experienced campaigners go toe-to-toe as Steve Hine takes on Scott Mitchell. Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where we've reached the halfway point of the evening's action here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Myself and Paul Nicholson have enjoyed all of the action in the commentary box. This is what we've seen thus far. A bit of a mix and match as far as the evening is concerned, but first things first, Mike van Duivenbode, he was the unknown quantity going into this evening. We haven't seen him play for a while, particularly in an environment like this, but he has turned on the ante, and you have to say so far he's been probably the best player of the night.
Yeah, I don't think that's under question. He's obviously still got some talent. He's got a little bit of quality as well. You saw the way he finished that fifth match. He got it done immediately. And I think he looks very comfortable on the stage. He doesn't look like he's suffering with the conditions. He doesn't look like he's under any pressure. And he looks really solid. I think at this stage, it's very early because we're only 25% of the way through the group. But if he keeps putting in performances like this, he looks more ready to qualify early than anybody else.
In terms of his strengths, it really has laid in the finishing. And sometimes the players that come back into the game, usually you see a lot of scoring power, and sometimes it could be the doubles that's an issue. It's actually been a bit of the opposite for Mike.
Yeah, there's been a bit of everything. I think if you consider what is needed to gain a tour card around 2019, if you can average high 80s, early 90s, you can do a lot of damage in Q School. That's the kind of averages that we're seeing from him tonight. But he's still got 6 games to go. It'll be fascinating to see if he can maintain that level or whether he has a lull towards the end of this campaign tonight or possibly at the start of tomorrow. But the early signs are good, and I think there's definitely something to build on.
In terms of Stefan Hendrick, he's won both his matches this evening. However, it's felt like on a few occasions he's had to dodge a few bullets.
Yeah, I think especially against Mitchell, I mean, that game wasn't very good. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that it was a classic. It wasn't. But if you're winning games like that, you're still gaining points. It's the person who loses a match like that, they'll be thinking, well, I really should win that game 99 times out of 100, but this is the one time I lose it. It's how Mitchell responds from here, but Hendrick seems to be getting a bit of winning confidence. It doesn't matter how he wins it, he's still gaining valuable points.
And what else, Scotty Talk, who we can see in the background preparing for his game against Steve Hine?
Well, it's 2 veterans, isn't it? They've been around an awfully long time. They'll have run into each other in different venues over the course of their careers. But this is a huge game for Steve Hine. If he goes into his 4th game tonight and he hasn't got any points, this is going to be a drastic situation. Mitchell has already got 2 points in the bag, so there's less pressure on him. But now Hine's really got to find something.
He's looking very relaxed, isn't he, as he warms up for that game against Steve Hine. That's going to kick off in around about 2 or 3 minutes' time. Well, Mitchell and Hine warming up for action in that one. But next week, we're going to see a former champion back in the building.
Different route for Conan. But he moved away from the single 20 because he felt it was quite blocked that segment.
Give himself a dart at top to take out the opening leg. And he only needs a dart at top to lead 1-0. One dart at top. He has to move over to the left here, Conan. Finds it, 1-1. Well, Conan Whitehead has promised us that one day he'll be a 2-time Modus Super Series champion. Is Series 8 the series that he does it? He's going to be the star name in an illustrious field of players next week. We're also going to see another player who made it through to the last Champions Week in Bradley Brooks in action. But Stefan Bellman is the name that really stands out for me at the bottom of the Group A, because he's a player that's had a very good year but probably hasn't been spoken up about too much.
Yeah, I don't think Stefan is someone who harbours a lot of column inches, but he made a quarterfinal on the Pro Tour yesterday, so he's obviously playing pretty well. There are names everywhere in that group, but for very different reasons, whether they've played a lot with us before, they're playing really well right now, or whether there's a question mark over where they go next. And I think there's a really nice mix when it comes to next week.
Yep, that kickstarts 9:30 on Monday morning, where Glenn Durrant's going to be a part of the team once again. Right, we're going to get into our sixth game of the evening session now, the second half of the evening. It's been one of them days, hasn't it? As we see Steve Hine and Scott Mitchell go toe-to-toe. They're looking to make it through to the finals here on Saturday evening, and you can join us as well. Just take a look at this.
Every Saturday, we open our doors for our weekly finals night.
For a unique and intimate darts experience.
Meet the Dart Stars and even the team off the telly
Here at our purpose-built venue in Portsmouth.
every single Saturday evening.
Tickets can be booked via this QR code
Or at www.dartshop.tv for a very small booking fee.
Follow us at MSS Darts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok.
For all the latest ticketing news.
All you need to do, log on, book, turn up, and the action gets underway from 7:30 p.m.
So what are you waiting for?
Get your tickets to the darts.
We look forward to welcoming you to the Modus Super Series very soon.
Yep, Saturday nights are fun nights here at the Modus Super Series, and you can join us each and every single week. Nice to see our latest dosage of ticketing news, but the news on the stage is one of Scott Mitchell and Steve Hine can find themselves in a better position. For Scott Mitchell, he can make it a three-way tie on fourth at the top of the table, ahead of Hendricks and Van Duivenbode's next matches. As for Steve Hine, you get the sense that now is a key passage in play for him. He lost his first two matches by the margin of 4-2. His Mr. Plethora doubles 18 in his first game against Stefan Hendrick. And so if he's going to give himself the best chance, you feel like this is a must-win game because the gap will be 2 matches by the end of his third match to a qualification position.
First
for
leg,
Mitchell,
it's Steve to throw first. Game
missed
on.
match starts against Stefan Hendrick in the last one. He can get himself back on the board very, very quickly.
44.
How much do you think Steve Hine is smarting from that first game where he missed 18 darts at a double? Because I think it's had a profound effect.
We see it so often here at the Super Series where the first
85.
game sets the precedent, sets the trend for what's going to happen later on in an afternoon or an evening session. And
100.
even though the performance improved against Mike Van Duivenbode, the average was 85, actually had a slightly higher average than his opponent. It just felt like what happened in game one did just drift over a little bit. But it has to be said, on the other side of the coin,
100.
there was a big dip in performance from game one compared to game two for Mitchell. Averaged 90.25 against Tom Lonsdale. And that was around about 15 points less in that defeat to Hendrick.
These two have actually met this year on the Challenge Tour. Mitchell won it. And he won it quite convincingly.
140.
Beat Steve in the last 64 of Challenge Tour number 9 over
43.
in Germany. So both doing the miles, but Mitchell got the better of Hine by 5 legs to 2. And he would end up making the quarterfinals, losing out to Ironman Kevin Burness. Consequently, it was Jamie Atkins who lost in that final.
45.
And we saw a little bit of Jamie this afternoon, didn't we? And you'll see more of him from 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Well, I don't know what's happening there, but something's happened there. And so I'm not quite sure what, but both players having a conflab about it. Steve's practicing in the meantime.
Well, the last time I saw somebody leave the stage that quickly, it was Scott Mitchell.
Well, we don't quite know what the case is in that one, but we're at the midway point of the night. It's our 6th game of the evening session between Mitchell and Hine. Overall, in terms of this evening, where would you say in terms of delivery of a session have we been at tonight?
Yeah, it hasn't been bad. I think I've been really impressed with Mike. I think Steve Hine's not going to be happy at all with his level of performance, particularly his doubles. I think Mitchell's been a bit up and down. His first performance averaged 90. Second game, mid-70s. He's never going to be happy with that. So it'll be interesting to see where we go from here. But I think the 6th game between Hine and Mitchell, when we get back up and running, it's going to be interesting to see what we get, because the more of a sample size we get from the players, the more we can learn from where they're at right now.
Well, that's the table at the midway point of the evening. Van Duivenbode and Hendrick on 4 points. Mitchell on 2. Hine and Lonsdale both on 0 points. So, in terms of Mike, let's talk about him, because he's the player who's really stood out as far as this evening is concerned. He must be feeling like he's on an absolute crest of a wave right now.
Depends how he thinks about it, though. He might be thinking of the next 2 nights as a complete freebie. My thought process with the way that Mike can approach tonight and tomorrow is that he can just play darts and have this as a basis of where he goes from here. If it goes really well this week, he knows exactly what he's going to do. He's going to come back in August. But if he doesn't make Saturday, or doesn't potentially go on to do something successful, who knows?
It'll be an interesting to find out. We're just having a little bit of a stoppage in play here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. We hope to get back underway very shortly indeed. Now, Hine had won Group A on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. He's a player that's been in amongst it. He's won a week before. If he's watching today, and I think he has watched bits of today, how do you think he'll be rating the rest of the opposition?
Can I be honest about how he'd feel? Because I said in the previous match, we're not supposed to tell lies as commentators. I don't think he's seen anything that would scare him. I think even Connor, who didn't play anywhere near his best in Group A, but still won it, he'll be thinking, this might be one of those weeks that can be won with dogged determination, and maybe you don't need as much quality as usual. But if he can turn on the style on Saturday night, it might just be a 2nd consecutive weekly title for the man from Ireland.
Well, let's just quickly break away from the Super Series, because there is a big weekend in the ADC this weekend, and it's the final weekend of the Championship Tour. Now, Thomas Banks, a player who's going to be in Group C tomorrow, and looks in a very good position to progress through, is top of that order of merit. Now, they will play a finals in November here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Now, we saw the women's competition last year at Kickstart, and we saw how that really became a pathway for the ADC to become a real preeminent player in the amateur game. And these tournaments being run professionally, almost akin to a challenge tour or a dev tour. And we're seeing big prize money and big exposure for players as a result of it.
Yeah, I think that tournament last year for the 8 ladies was fantastic. And as a test, it was really good to see where the ADC went from there.
Well, looks like we're back ready to get underway here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. It's game 6 of our evening session. It's
58.
the Muffin Man and
Scott,
Scotty Dog Mitchell.
131.
And so, play got back underway. Hine with a 58 score. And so Mitchell will come back for 131 to take the opening leg against Fro.
59. Stevie
After that
require
stoppage,
164.
can Hine find a moment of brilliance?
$94.
I'd say that's pretty
Scott,
brilliant.
Require 72.
That's Mitchell for 1-0.
20 for tops. Tops for the break.
Game
In
shot
it
on the
goes
first
with
leg,
real
Scott Mitchell.
conviction. Mitchell draws the opening rubber of this contest. Well, not often do you see
Second
this.
leg, it's Scott to throw first.
A leg one in 6
Game
minutes and 40 seconds.
Yeah, good spot, actually. I didn't think of that. We've actually seen a game completed in its entirety in less time than that first leg.
And before you ask, it's not because of the pace of Scott Mitchell as to why that took 6 minutes and 40 seconds.
81.
We actually don't know, but it doesn't matter anyway. But I think the 1st of August, which is coming to a close in the next 2 minutes, it will forever be known as the day that Andy Murray retired. So, yeah, the 1st of August 2024, the last tennis competitive
100.
match that Andy Murray will play. A great sports person for GB and I. 2-time Olympic
85.
champion, 2-time Wimbledon champion. one of the greats of tennis in the last generation. That's the great thing about a summer of sport. So much in the way of stories are written. So many memories are etched on
41.
our brains for us to tell people in future generations. We remember the day that Andy Murray had to retire. We remember the day that Scott Mitchell won
100.
Lakeside back in 2015. I remember watching that final, thinking, was he ever going to miss tops? I remember 2 Lakesides for people bossing tops. Mitchell in 2015 and Tony David in 2002. It felt like he had tops on the end of a string.
95. Scott, you require 80.
May have tops at the end of this visit, but he's hoping to get a couple of cracks at double 10. We'll get a couple of cracks at double 10. Only needs the one.
Second leg, Scott
Well, this
Mitchell.
has been an intriguing night as far as Scott Mitchell's concerned. Good first performance out the gate. Match 2 didn't really
Third
muster
leg,
much.
it's Steve to
And
throw
now
first.
here, he's 2-0 up,
Game
averaging 93.94.
Things aren't looking very good for Hine, though, are they?
42.
Still walks out to who let the dogs out, doesn't he, Scott Mitchell? Well, surely Steve Hine should walk out to that song by Take That.
108.
Let it Hine.
80.
I think they'll catch on pretty well. As long as he
97.
keeps handing out the muffins, which he didn't bring again.
There's a story to that. There could be a story to this, because Scott Mitchell has never had a professional 9-dart finish in his career. And he's not going to have one in this leg.
Well done, Henry. You just put the hex on that. Perfect timing.
Anyway, back to the story. I have been told
68.
on very good authority, well, I got it straight from the horse's mouth before the interview, that the reason why there's no muffins tonight is because Steve was in communication with Matthew Edgar last week. Edgar said he wasn't there this week, so don't bother cooking any. So, very selfish of you, Matthew,
145.
and that has been noted.
What a killjoy.
Mitchell here's on a 10-darter.
135. Scott, you
Oh,
require
no.
36.
Steve can't believe it. He's left himself a bogey number. Does it matter?
No
It
score.
could have. It really could have.
$95. Scott,
now
you
he's left to
require
finish.
36.
But Mitchell's had practice on double 18. You might finish it off. Turns out to be a different double.
Game shot on a
That's a
third
14-dart leg
Scott
for a 3-0
Mitchell.
lead. Now that Challenge Tour event that I mentioned earlier, Challenge Tour 9
Fourth flag, it's Scott to
this
throw
year in
first.
Hildesheim.
Game on.
You look through that tournament bracket and there are Super Series players everywhere in that last 16. I'm going to go through the
60.
names. John Henderson. Stefan Hendrick. He was in the last 16. Jamie Atkins.
40.
He's here this week as well. Fallon Sherrick. She was here last week. Stefan Belmore. He's here next week. Lee Cox, Mr. 9-darter, from a couple of weeks ago. Bradley Brooks. He's here next week. We've just announced him for the influencer event.
60.
Scott Mitchell. Denny Alder-Calter, who has got history here because he was the opponent of the average record holder.
93.
Kevin Burness, who we haven't seen in Portsmouth yet, interestingly. Andy Bolton, Connor Scott, who had a really good day today on the Pro Tour. They're just everywhere, Super Series players. We do try to get the best players for you. We really do
100.
try.
The best in class. Well, Mitchell's been a
46.
class above in this contest, averaging 93.98. Hine kind of playing towards the level he played at in his first game against Devin Hendrick, and just like in that match, it looks like he's going to get no reward for that type of performance.
Well, Mitchell looks in the
100.
mood to give Hine a real tonking here. You ever seen that movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off? It's a bit before your time, isn't it?
26.
Well, there's a scene in that movie when they're in Chicago and they're watching a baseball game. And Ferris Bueller's best friend starts saying, "Hey, bada, 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 swing a bada." And right now, Mitchell's got the bat.
60. $140. Scott, you require 121.
Mitchell here, 121 for the match. He may feel that he's got 6 from here to wrap it up. May only need the 3. Double 14 to get the job done. And it would have been in some style.
107. Steve, you require 156.
By going inside, if he comes back, the next visit could be a bit tricky. Double 7 is not a friend, particularly for a tall
97.
player like Scott.
Scott, you require
Yeah, but if he misses it
14.
low, he can sneak it over the top.
Just like that.
Just sail over the top.
No score.
He missed the marker. And that's
Steve, you
why he's so
require
disappointed.
59.
You tell by the way it floated wide to the left. The line wasn't quite there.
Game shot on
And
the
Steve
full
Hine
flag.
has
Steve
fixed his
Hine.
case of missed double-itis as he gets the break and brings it back to 3-1.
Fifth
All right,
flag.
Dr.
It's
Deacon.
Steve to throw first. Game on.
That would be a horrible thing to get, wouldn't it? Dear Doctor, I'm having a real trouble with double top and double 16.
43.
Well, you've got a case of missed double-itis. What do you prescribe? Super Series twice a day?
100.
That really is a staple diet. And we're going to have a double session day tomorrow. 2 sessions, Group C.
64.
Back tomorrow from 1 o'clock. Be an enthralling session to see who's going to join Conor Hine in the final. Then this will be back, Group B, from 10 p.m. tomorrow evening. And at this moment in time, we're on the wise as to who could be in the box seat by the end of night 1.
I've got a funny feeling that Stefan Hendrick's going to have a really good Friday, with it being
92.
Freitag. Didn't like that, did you?
100.
Oh, Mitchell's at it again. The one thing he's been doing tonight is he's been finding 1 treble visits.
96.
Although his 2 treble visits have been just a little bit better in this match. He's still not happy with his doubling. He should have had this match finished by now.
And if he's not careful, the game could follow a similar path to the game against Stefan Hendrick, where
100.
it looked like it freed to our pad authority in the game, but then couldn't cross the finishing line. He was 3 from 13 in that match.
83. Scott, you require 160.
For this match-winning opportunity on the 160. That first dart felt very safe.
100.
There it
Steve,
is,
you
another
require
1 treble visit.
123.
54 ball. 4 does you no
83.
favours.
Scott, you require 60.
So it is match point Mitchell once again. Wherever this single goes, he won't have to move.
But where he will
shot
move
and
is
the
to the
match,
top of
Scott
the
Mitchell.
table, because Scott Mitchell, courtesy of that 4-1 win against Steve Hine, sails all the way to the summit of Group B. It's his 2nd win in 3 matches. Mitchell getting the better of Hine by 4 legs to 1. That's the tail of the tape. Next up, it's Stefan Hendrick up against Tom Lonsdale. Hello, welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where before the break we saw Scott Mitchell get the better of Steve Hine by 4 legs to 1, averaging 87.92, 4 from 13 on the doubles in that encounter. He moves to the top of the table on 4 points. So that could be a temporary measure if Hendrick gets the better of Tom Lonsdale. He'll be the first player onto 6 as far as this Group B is concerned. As for Tom Lonsdale, the player who came so close to winning Group A, came within a win of taking the glory in Group A, well, he needs to win this game to get his first points on the board in this particular group. And it has to be said, it's a night that's not really gone to plan. Hasn't played bad. 84 averages in both of his matches, but it's felt like in both of the games that he's played this evening, he has been the chaser.
Yeah, I think he needs a performance where he imposes himself.
42.
You're right, when it comes to his numbers, they've been pretty consistent. He's had 4 darts at double in both matches. And that's all right as long as you hit them all. But he hasn't. That's why he's sitting in 4th position.
57.
But the separation between the top 3 and the bottom 2 is a worry. Even if he beats Hendrick here for the
43.
The second time this week, he's still going to stay in 4th position.
99.
I hate to say this at a really early juncture, but if he doesn't get a move on, he might have too much to do tomorrow.
60.
Because the top 3 are racing away with this. And Steve Hine is already really on the cusp of elimination on night 1, and particularly if
43.
Mitchell wins his last one, Hendrick wins one more, and Duivenbode win his last. It could be done by the end of night 1. And you never really say that about a Group B.
Yeah, you're not wrong, actually.
40.
That match that Hine and Lonsdale have got in match night, it might be completely pointless. Because the other 3 might be in the wind.
First leg, Stefan Hendrick.
And Stefan is in no mood to hang around.
Second leg, it's Tom.
He's got Mike van Duivenbode in the last match. One of those players... Now, let's take this fixture out of it. One of those players is guaranteed 100. To have 6 points. There's a chance that Mike might have 8. Stefan could have 6.
55.
And Mitchell could have 6 as well. This is drastic.
And just looking at the performance,
42.
It feels desperate now for Tom. It's like he's searching for something, but he's searched too far, and now he's really got his mind in a haze.
Do you remember that week where
61.
John Michael could have won Group A by the smallest of margins? He didn't, and then in Group B, he really struggled. It does get the
59.
feeling, this place sometimes, that the hangover of a Group A can have such a profound effect on a Group B campaign.
60.
I don't necessarily want to call it the John Michael hangover. I think that's a bit unfair. But bounce back, he will try. And that's more like it.
99. Tom, you require 120.
I wonder what he's going to do, saying a bit maverick. He's decided to go traditional for the 120. There's a little bit of me that thought, just to get
45.
himself going, he may have had a look at 3 tops.
No, I think you've got to do business like there. Try and take it 120 and do it the right way.
61.
We do have some mavericks who
Tommy
like 3 tops, but
75.
this is not the time. It's always the right time to hit tops at the first time of asking.
35.
Well, the thing is, Lonsdale's up his level a little bit in this leg.
57.
And the fact of the matter
Tommy
is, Hendrick's not
40.
playing to a level that should be
Game Shana's
something
second
that will
leg,
overly
Tom
scare
Lonsdale.
Lonsdale. He levels up at 1 apiece, and he must be thinking, if I can up it here for 5 minutes and my opponent stays the same,
Third
then there is a
leg,
win
it's
to be
Stefan
had
to
here, and I can
first.
claw myself back
Game
into
on.
proceedings.
I can't believe it's taken me 4 days, well, almost 5 actually, because it's Friday
60.
morning now, to think of this. If you anglicise Stefan's name, doesn't it read Stephen
58.
Hendrick?
The 7-time world snooker champion.
Unless you can think of another Stephen Hendry.
100.
Because Stefan is the Central European version of Stephen, right?
Yeah.
And Hendrick,
43.
that looks like Hendry. Well, surely a better nickname for him would be what?
You can't call him the king of the
41.
Crucible, which was Stephen Hendry's nickname.
If he wins this week, we'll call him the king of the Super Series, maybe. For the week.
140.
He'd be the king of this castle, that's for sure.
Now, something was chatted about off the record the other day, but I'd be
83.
interested to get your take on this, Henry, because we have a weekly trophy people at the end of the week, and the trophy for the series winners who get their name
78.
printed on the trophy in traditional style. But we talked amongst us here about the possibility of the winner of the week getting
91.
something else. Now, what do you think it should be? Because trophies are traditional. Everybody's thinking of different stuff now, aren't they?
78.
Belts,
Stefan, you
trophies,
require
bracelets.
126.
I have an idea. But let's see what Stefan can do with that.
101. Tom, you require 104.
Let's see what Tom can do with this. He's not going to take it, so Stefan's got a chance of 2-1.
44. Stefan, you require 25.
17-4 has tended to be his play this week.
17.
He's burned a couple
Tom,
of
you require
opportunities.
60.
And Lonsdale, from 1-0 down, has a chance to move in front for the first
Game
time.
shot on the third
Pins
leg,
the
Tom
tops.
Lonsdale.
Hasn't been vintage at all. Not by the furthest stretch of the imagination, but Tom Lonsdale's 2-1 in front, and he
Full
has a
flag.
break in
It's
hand.
Tom to throw first. Game
We'll come
on.
back to my idea for a weekly trophy in a minute. But if Lonsdale can win
137.
and get a result against Hine to walk away with 4 points, is he then hoping that Mike van Duivenbode takes out Hendrick in the last match?
180.
My instinct says yes.
I think he's happy at this stage to play
57.
for that third spot. Just guarantees something. Well then.
140.
When he gets it right, he gets it very right, doesn't he? Now, my idea for the weekly winner
140.
is a coin. And there's only 12 coins a series. And then the winner of the series gets the trophy.
47. Tom, you
And every
require
time you win a weekly title, you
167.
get a coin. And then you can say, oh, that person's got so many coins. So Steve West would have 167?
142.
That was the
Stefan, you
amalgamation
require
of two different sentences there, by the
134.
way. Steve West would have 4 coins because he's got 4 weekly titles.
94. Tom,
Neil
you
Duff would
require
have 4 coins.
25.
See what I'm saying? Well, you saw how
9.
difficult that double eight
Stefan,
was.
you require 40.
And he might pay the penalty for missing it. Not once, but twice.
Game shot on a 4 flag. Stefan
Well,
Hendrick.
Hendrick breaks back. We go level at 2-2 at the midway point of the contest. It's not
Fifth
been a
flag.
classic,
It's Stefan to throw first.
but both players
Game
just
on.
looking to claw out the victory by any what means possible.
47.
Well, there's been a suggestion here in the chat room by Sam Golding, who I will forgive for
93.
his previous comments about me. Black and yellow blazer for a weekly win, a yellow blazer for the series win. Now, I don't think that will work for a
45.
normal week. However, I tell you what, for Double Trouble, that could work. The winner of Double Trouble picks up the
45.
gold blazer.
Somebody's been watching Happy Gilmore. I believe that jacket belongs to Mr. Gilmore.
39.
No, if I'm honest. I think the jacket idea
98.
has been taken by the Austrian Darts Open because we now, in the PDC system, have the tournament in Graz that has the green jacket.
54.
It would almost take something from that. So, good suggestion.
So what we should also do, I reckon, You know how in
43.
football and in other sports, when you play for your country, you get a unique number based on what cap you are for your country. I think every player that plays it should have their own
58.
unique number. They did it for the World Championships, didn't they, a couple of years ago? And somewhere on the wall, we should have every single number.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
58.
Someone's got a database of that, I'm sure.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, there'll be one or two players there's one or two people that definitely have that database on their spreadsheets. Don't worry about that.
Tom, you require 164.
You've got me wondering which number I would be in PDC World Cup now. Like that switch. Love that switch.
128. Stefan, you require 118.
Do we love this shot? You don't have that trouble.
51. Tom, you require 36.
A chance of a break of throw, and this game is getting very quick.
Game shot on the fifth flag.
And Quick
Lonsdale.
fancies Lonsdale a bit more, and he leads 3-2 with the break in hand.
Sixth flag. It's Tom to
Of course,
throw
if we were
first.
to go through that
Game
and we were to go through weekly winners, the first would be Robert Owen.
140.
He was the first weekly winner from the time where we bridged Southampton and Portsmouth.
Yeah. So if you go from Series 1, Week 1, which is
37.
the probably the appropriate starting point, then yeah, that's where it would begin. But this is much better from
140.
Lonsdale. There was a point in this game where he really was struggling, but he's managed to find something towards the latter end.
108.
Hendrick with the 180, that's the 150 for the week, but that may just be an academic fault. Probably will be an academic fault.
57.
But we've had 51 today. I stress that's over the 2 sessions that we've covered on Thursday afternoon and Friday night.
48.
That's pretty
Tom, you
healthy.
require 164.
What's healthy is having 2 points in the bank.
96.
Because he hasn't been able to get any in the first half of play. Win this match, you've still got a chance of having 4 by the end of the night.
46.
Lose it,
Tom,
and
you
having
require
2
68.
leaves you looking over your shoulder.
Looking precariously.
28.
And Lonsdale has missed the match start, but he is going to come back for more.
He doesn't want to mess around with it.
150.
He definitely shouldn't.
Tom, you require 40.
2 10s for 4-2 win. And Lonsdale's
Game shot
finally on
and
the
the match.
board.
Tom
The
Lonsdale.
cry of come on was matched with that winning dart. And Lonsdale eventually picks up that elusive win. He beats Stefan Hendrick by 4 legs to 2. And it means he is still lurking around that chasing pack. Coming up after the break, Scott Mitchell takes on Mike van Duivenbode. The winner of this contest will move on to 6 points.
Next year, when that decision needs to be made, he's going to be 49. 1 year shy of the age of the seniors.
A very viable option. 2 players who are around that age. Well, what did he say about the 9?
Will we get the 141? Will the promise come true? Double 12.
Shot and the match.
Steve
West
has won the match with a 9 dart.
Harrison has kicked off the last leg in perfect style.
It's everything, really. Oh, he's timing this well again. 180.
With a 9 darter, treble 19. Treble 15 leaves double 18. Franchise Harrison to win the game in perfect style.
Hauled himself out of it.
Yeah, it was something that Henry actually said in jest that I was quoted as saying Jared Cole is one of the most, sounds a bit fishy. Glenn, do you know my grandpa Mark Salmon?
Do you? On a 177 and a 180. He's on a potential 9 darter.
Come on, Jared. Yes, you beauty!
Nice and high, and has now got the game back into his
100.
own destination, and wow, the momentum is with him. Here we go.
108. required.
I wouldn't have said it.
41.
Don't jinx it. Yes. Yes! Double 12! Yes! Get in there, Leacock!
Well, I think it's fair to say that the blue touch paper has been well and truly lit.
108.
6th max of the match. Oh, hang about. Hang about. It's getting ridiculous now. Can Tommy Leishman give us back-to-back 9 darters in back-to-back games? He could, you know. He could, you know. Goodness gracious! Wait!
Tommy Leishman.
Back-to-back 9 darters! And the man who is in commentary for a couple of those videos is in action now. Scotty Dog Mitchell up against Mike van Duivenbode. Yep, Scotty Dog swapping the microphone for the darts in his hand. Well, Mike van Duivenbode is back on the hockey for the first time in a while, making his televised comeback here at the Super Series. And it's been a case of so far so good. 2 victories, 2 good performances, and he's the only player to harbour an unbeaten record still as far as this group is concerned. But Scott Mitchell can move to the top of the table on 6 points if he can win this one. And crucially, when it comes to Game 8 in the evening, we reach a bit of a crossroads in a player's evening. For Mitchell, when he finishes his programme tonight, Mike van Duivenbode is only halfway through it. He plays Game 8, he plays Game 10 before his night's work is done.
You might be surprised to hear that Mike van Duivenbode is not the most famous pigeon.
100.
Right.
Apparently, according to the internet, the most famous pigeon is called Cher Ami.
100.
It was a carrier pigeon used in the First World War. That's all I know.
Just note that down if that ever comes up at a pub quiz.
You never know.
60.
You could go down the fictional route, of course. And the most famous fictional pigeon is Speckled Jim, which was in Blackadder Goes Forth, which was accidentally shot and eaten by Edmund
40.
Blackadder in the trenches. And he was tried by General Melchett and sentenced to be hanged
140.
by his general. And he was broken out eventually.
Wasn't there a pigeon in Wacky Races?
57.
You're definitely asking the wrong person here.
You're more Baker Grove, aren't you?
Not really. I never watched it.
I'm actually bringing it back.
60.
Oh, come on. Some things should be left in the past. It's a good job Mike didn't think that way. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here.
93.
He still believes he's got a darting future.
141.
And after everything he's done tonight so far, I am really glad he's here.
Playing some really good stuff. And we're going to see Harry Ward here next week. And he's kind of followed a similar path to Mike. Maybe a bit more high profile because of what he achieved. But decided to step away and then do his own thing when coming back. Trying to see it more as a hobby, isn't he, Harry, compared to it being a full-time occupation, enjoying working life, enjoying family life now, of course, Harry being a dad.
95. Scott, you required 36.
18 for Mitchell to take a 1-0 lead.
Someone who has had the support of his family his entire career. Whether it's been playing for his country, playing here, on various tours. It is a bit of a family affair, isn't it?
To throw first. Game on.
So Mitchell takes the opener, 1-0 to the good. Was the better player, if the truth be told, in that opening leg.
He's always had that opening hand when he's drawn the dart back, hasn't he? It's a really good position because he uses the grip at the top of the barrel to push the dart through the air. and he doesn't crunch the hand. That's a coaching term for when the little finger and the third finger start to get very close to the thumb, where the hand closes. It's called a crunch. Mitchell goes the other way. He opens the hand even more, which means that the hand fans out and he can just float it through the air.
60.
If you look at Mike van Duivenbode and look at his second, third and fourth finger, they actually press down on the end of the barrel before he throws it.
41.
That's one of the reasons why his darts go in so upright.
Question for you in the chat room, Nico, by Carl. What would you say was your best ever win?
$80.
I'm trying not to give the obvious answer here. The one that means the most to me, and my best ever win, they were in the same tournament.
80.
But they were in my first World Championship. My 4-3 win against Adrian Lewis at the 2009 World Championship is probably my best overall gutsy performance. But my favourite win was the next game after that against Dennis Priestley. I was 2-0 down. And from sets 3 to set 6, I continually got better and better and better. And
60.
that performance and the way I handled myself, I was very proud of that one.
Well, will there be pride in the performance here for Mitchell? 140 for a 2-0 lead isn't going to go. And Duivenbode may just get a dart at the ball on the back of the 130 to square this game up. There's actually a 14-point gap
40.
in
Mike,
terms
you
of the
require
averages
130.
in this early portion of the contest.
Well, the pigeon is alive and well. I wonder what type of pigeon he is.
It's Scott to throw first.
Is he a Flanders pigeon? That's the kind of pigeon that Speckled Jim was. I hope Richie Burnett's watching this, because one of his favourite things in the entire world is talking about
100.
Baldrick and Blackadder and Melchett, and Blackadder goes fourth. Well, that series also involves
60.
Richie Burnett's favourite poem. It's called Boom, Boom, Boom. They're the only words in it.
You can see where the Wenger boys got their inspiration now.
59.
Well, let's have a look at the players. Darts enter the board from our top shot. And as you can see with Mike, it goes in very straight along the barrel. There's not much that can go wrong there.
100.
Straight, upright. But sometimes those deflections, they can guide the dart a little bit further away. As you can see, both are using molded flight technology.
100.
I think that the stuff used by Mitchell is thinner and more flexible. This is quite a rigid molded flight. I think this is actually the most rigid of the lot on the market.
21.
It's all personal preference. You've got to find what works for you.
As I say, with a lot of players, including Connor Scott, who won last week, they're trying the tri-sided flights.
100.
Needless to say, nobody's going to use a two-sided. That would just be a flat one, which wouldn't fly very well. You do need to have drag in the flight to help it to fly with stability.
140. Scott, you require 142.
6 darts here for Mitchell to put his nose back in front again. And he's going to leave himself handy.
90.
Don't automatically think that this leg is over. Put something on the board and get yourself into 2-dart territory here, if you can.
65.
I like that
Scott,
thinking.
You require 52.
Double top it is.
32.
Does not go.
Mikey
And Van
require
Duivenbode, who's already
115.
taken out the 130 in this match, is looking for 115. And this would be another nick. And this would sting Scott if this tops goes. He's
Game
done
shot
it
on the
again.
third leg. Mike
He had
Van
no right to
Duivenbode.
win the last leg when he won the 130. He had no right to win this leg, and he takes out the 115. Van
Fourth leg, it's
Duivenbode
Mike to
has
throw first.
swung this game in
on.
his favour and then some.
You see, he didn't have a right to win the leg, but his opponent missed his chance. And when you do that, you run the risk of losing the
100.
leg. And now are you understanding why he went for the bullseye with the dart on the previous visit? He's got two small 20s, the 60's blocked. Going for the 60 again is a risk.
100.
By going 25 or bull, he still gets 120 or better if he throws a decent dart. And then he wants to be treble,
140.
single, double. Instead of using, let's say he gets an 18, he's leaving 4 18s for bull. It's just really good thinking.
$180.
That's Mitchell's first max of this match. In fact, it's only his second of the night. I know he's not known to be a prolific 180
91.
hitter. Duivenbode first to finish in this leg. And I just wonder whether slowly but surely he may well be knocking the stuffing out of Mitchell here.
100. Mikey require 170.
Who's doing the stuffing knocking here? Is he going bull or 54?
134.
Well,
Scott, you require
Mitchell
121.
is on the chopping block now.
Well, Mitchell needs to hit Van Duivenbode where it hurts and where he has been hurt in the last couple of legs. Bullseye to hit back with a ton top of his own. But the line and the
84.
length was off
Mikey
cue.
require 36.
This is for another shot in the breadbasket.
No score.
He's had his chance.
Scott, you require
What did I say in the
37.
last leg? If you miss yours, you run the risk of someone pinching it from you. Mitchell can't leave tops, of course. So you would assume this is going to be 5 double 16.
Double 16 for 2-2. Mike is staring in the
Game shot on the
background of
fourth
that
flag.
double, and he
Scott
will see
Mitchell.
Scott Mitchell take it. He will see his opponent have a little bit of a G-up of a celebration
flag, it's Scott to
after it
throw
was
first.
found. Level
Game
we
on.
are 2-2, and we are none the wiser as to who wins this contest.
We aren't. But you can sense that Mitchell wants to go out on a high tonight. He wants to go back to the farm with 3 wins from 4, which is
140.
always a very solid Thursday night. Even if Mitchell does win this match at the expense of Mike, he can still walk away with 6 points himself if he beats Stefan Hendrick in the last match of the evening.
Well, we've got a couple of friends in the chat room
100.
this evening. Couple of people that we know very well, friends of ours in the world of darts. Ricky Palmer played here in the past, is watching, as well as Gemma Hayter, who's doing some fantastic things
60.
on the women's circuit and is looking to solidify her place in the top 8 of the women's championship tour. Actually has a chance of qualifying for the global championship, looking to depose of Vicky Purim in P2 over the course of the weekend in Aylesbury.
100.
Yeah, when Gemma's in the chat room, she's the only hater we want to see. Badum.
140. Scott, you require 161.
If you haven't seen the recent upload to our YouTube channel of Luke Humphreys doing the Bullseye Challenge and a couple of other things, you might want to give it a look because he's got some company. And he doesn't have things all his own way. Isn't that right, Gemma?
137. Mike, you require 161.
Spoiler. Well, he could and Duivenbode could have spoiled the party again if he found the 161. He isn't going to go, and so Mitchell returned for double 12 to put himself 3-2 to the good in this contest, and will put himself a leg away for making it 3 wins out of 4 on his opening night. One more in hand, a double 6. Does
18.
not go, and Van Duivenbode is back for the break.
56.
This game could be done by Mitchell. He could now be behind.
16.
But chances are spurned
Scott,
in
you
2
require
consecutive
6.
legs. Can he work his way up to the trapdoor?
Game shot on the 5th
No
leg.
trouble
Scott
down there for
Mitchell.
Scott. One more leg. And he could be finishing his
leg,
night
it's
very,
Mike to
very
throw
well
first.
indeed.
Game on.
Well, that was a cinematic end to the leg, wasn't
60.
it?
Somebody's been messing with the Duivenbode.
We're talking about friends that are tuning in. I've
24.
actually just had a text message from a good friend of ours.
Oh, thanks, Jim White.
Marco Meyer's tuning in.
Is he tuned in to watch the pigeon?
100.
Good friend of ours at the Super Series. Of course, referee here at the Super Series on occasion. Sure we'll see Marco back soon.
42.
Excellent referee is Marco, one of the world's best at his craft. Good commentator now in his own right out in the Netherlands.
They've got some great pundits over there. I just wish I could speak Dutch so I could understand what they're saying.
93.
Can you imagine Vincent van der Voort as a pundit? Phenomenal. And he could do it in English or Dutch.
108.
Be the equivalent of having Roy Keane sat in a studio.
Correct, but in a good way.
That's your job.
100.
Anybody realise that Roy Keane was from the United States? I thought he was from Cork.
Not too far away from Conor Hinahan's neck of the woods.
100. Mike, you require 148.
Keep yourself in this match, Mike. You might need to take this in 6. 155 from Mitchell. He's looking to do
100.
what Scott Campbell
Scott, you
did
require 155.
on Thursday by finishing his campaign for the day with a 150-plus shot. The shot is on. Shot's still on. Double 19.
117.
No big crescendo.
Mike, you require 48.
Well, we've only seen one 4-3 in this evening session, and that 4-3 involved Scott Mitchell, who was 3-2 up and then lost the match. Well, double 16 leaves himself double 8. And in it goes, and
Mike
to a
van
decider we
Duivenbode.
go. And we are going to get our money's worth in this game.
7th and final leg. It's Scott to throw first.
And as we enter the 18th minute of this contest, do we enter the last leg?
If Mitchell walks away
81.
from tonight with 4 points, is he disappointed?
Undoubtedly. Because he could have a similar situation to Moreno Blom under maybe different circumstances, where if he loses this game 4-3, he was 3-2 up in both of the matches that he lost, and so he could have so easily have flipped the coin and been on 8.
140.
The 2 games he won, he was convincing in, but he's being taken to the wire here. And to be honest, he shouldn't have been, because he dominated the early sways of the match.
140.
For those back-to-back tub plus checkouts, the 130, the 115 for Mike, that could well be the deciding factor in this contest, because Mitchell was streets in front of that point.
40.
At the very least. Mike has limited the damage. As he throws those darts, he is chuntering to himself.
140.
And it screams of positive self-talk, which is, I'm sure, what he's doing. It isn't a full board, which means it's 6 darts for Mitchell.
140.
140 to get the job done. And that is perfectly laid for another. But he's going to leave it handy on tops upon his return after 12 and the last leg decider.
He has not tasted defeat yet on this stage.
60.
That might be about to change.
40.
To end his night with 3 wins and 4, Mitchell wants tops.
No score.
But match darts have come and gone.
Mikey require 121.
That third dart was not close. If it's a third ton plus finish in this match, Mitchell will feel void.
He's not going to get a dart on the bullseye.
57.
And so Mitchell will come back
Scotty
for tops, but this time
40.
he cannot miss.
Game shot.
The forward
And the
dart
match,
was thrown. Scott Mitchell was the bookmakers' favourite to win Group B. And with 3 wins from 4 on his opening night, he is in very good stead to progress through to Saturday evening showpiece. He inflicts the first defeat of the evening on Mike van Duivenbode. It's a 4-3 success for the former world champion. And that was despite missing 14 darts at a double. There's back-to-back ton plus checkouts for Mike at the beginning of the match, but he gave himself the opportunity to push forward as a result of it, but it's Mitchell that's got the result. Coming up after the break, Tom Lonsdale takes on Steve Hine. Hi there, welcome back to the live lounge in Portsmouth for the Modus Super Series. We're into our penultimate game of the evening session here in the live lounge. And before the break, we saw Scotty Dog Mitchell get the better of Mike van Duivenbode by 4 legs to 3. All the action live here on the Super Series YouTube channel. Click that little subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And if you do click that button, you can get in contact with us on the YouTube chat room. And in our 9th game of the evening between the Muffin Man, Steve Hine and Tom Lonsdale, we're going to open up that chat room for your questions and your suggestions, and we'll answer a few as the game goes along. You can only do that if you subscribe to the Super Series YouTube channel. Right, penultimate match of the night, Lonsdale and Hine. Hine needs a win.
Yes, he does.
First leg.
He really
Tom
does.
to throw first. Game on.
So all the best to Steve and all the best to Tom, who could turn his night around if he does what he did in Game 7 by beating Stefan Hendrick.
60.
It's been hard work for Tom tonight, but it's been even harder for Steve. And very
85.
much trying to recover after that first game of the evening where he lost to Stefan, missing 18 darts at a double. You can't tell me that didn't have an effect.
134.
It's known in the industry as setting the tone. It can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. Especially
95.
in round-robin format. One thing we should take into consideration, though, is
78.
that wherever you look, Steve Hine's numbers have been pretty decent lately, but year-wide, they have been low 80s. And in this sort of company, is low 80s going to be good enough? Sometimes.
134.
And at times, a low 80s average will beat Tom Lonsdale. But in this kind of mood?
100. Tom, you require 95.
Skeptical.
Lonsdale's flicked a switch and it seemingly come from nowhere, really. 88. For
Game
1-0
shot on the
lead
first
to
leg,
15
Tom
darter.
Lonsdale.
Lonsdale's found his range again.
Second leg. It's Steve to throw first. Game on.
Well, let's be fair to Tom. 2 almost identical averages in his first 2 matches
60.
of the night. He ran into 2 pretty decent performances. He's remained resolute.
59.
And if he was to win this match and then beat those opponents again to get 8 points, he'd be pretty
36.
close to qualifying. But the ace up his sleeve could be possibly beating Hendrick or Hine
44.
4-0 at one point, destroying their leg difference and creating a bit of a gap on his own.
100.
Steve Hine's body language does not look very good to me at this point, and I don't blame him.
Everything is thrown at this. He's seen somebody else throw something more. And those missed
57.
doubles in game 1 just set the trend for continue. Actually, the champ is in the house. Conan Whitehead is in the YouTube chat
85.
room tonight.
Are you scoping out the competition, Conan? You wise fool.
I think Conan will probably say words to the effect of, I'm not
96.
scoping out the competition. The competition have to scope out me.
Well, you're not wrong.
59.
Very much looking forward to seeing him play next week. I'm not saying this just because he's in the chat room and I'm completely frightened of him. But he's one of my favourite players to
93.
watch.
Steve,
I've
you
said that for
require
years.
161.
I think he's a big ball of bundling excitement.
Well, that second dart's just squeezed in to that top
130.
right-hand corner.
Tom, you require
Bullseye lead
152.
time 31. Lonsdale needs a big finish here. He's not going to find the 152. And so Hine will get an opportunity to level up.
42. Steve, you require
I'm not going to let
31.
Steve forget how good that bullseye was that he just hit. It was right in the middle. More missed
27.
doubles, though.
Tom, you require 110.
He actually hasn't had that many darts at double in his last couple of matches. He had 2 from 4
50.
in his second game.
Steve, you require 4.
He only had 1 dart at a double in his previous match, which he hit.
Game shot on his
That's a bit
second
better.
leg, Steve Hine.
Well, level game we have at
Third
1-1.
leg, it's Tom to throw first. Game on. $134.
As someone who's worked in a bakery, I'm sure he's made more than muffins, you know. He's probably
$134.
probably better to be known as the muffin man than the bread man. Or the pastry man.
Talking about
96.
pastry, I went on a day out in Petersfield on Tuesday, which is a village nearby Portsmouth, and I went past a pie shop.
140.
And the pie shop was owned by Phil Turner, who was the runner-up of The Apprentice this year.
Were the pies any good?
I could
59.
well, I didn't have a pie because I'm on a diet. I just walked past the shop.
59.
I can't condone that kind of behaviour. You don't walk past a pie shop and not have a pie.
Yeah, but I'm on a diet.
Just have half then. Have a half later.
48.
What's life without pie?
Well, it's 3.14 recurring.
78. Tom, you require 164.
Lonsdale 164.
You and I are so different, Diggin.
You've just discovered that?
I'm thinking meat and potato. You're thinking
Steve, you require
3.14.
90.
Hine's thinking double 15.
Game shot on the third leg.
Something's
Steve Hine.
cooking. And it's not a pie. But he's doing something with the shape
Fourth
of a
leg,
pie
it's
on the
Steve to
circular
throw
dartboard.
first. Game on.
As for Tom Lonsdale, he is as sick as a chip.
85.
You know our friend Hugh Ware, referee? Do you know his favourite movie line? It's from Chicken Run. The famous chicken says, I don't want to be a pie. Don't like gravy.
80.
Well, that 180 was easy as pie for Tom Lonsdale.
100. $44.
Problem is, when you get a 180, you've got to back it up. And 44 is not necessarily backing it up very well.
57.
Hence why this leg is still in the balance. It's those kind of inconsistencies
135.
that drive you crazy. That's not inconsistent.
180.
And for some
Tom, you
reason,
require
when he hits a maximum,
142.
it seems more impressive because of the size of his tungsten.
28. Steve,
Well,
you
Lonsdale
require
took out the
79.
first leg of this match in double quick time. But ever since, he has been a passenger in this contest, and Hine has the opportunity to open up a 3-1 lead if he finds
39.
tops, which he's unable to
require
do, and so Lonsdale may have
114.
to take out the 114.
I'm really glad that Steve checked that first start because I thought it was a single 7.
78.
We know what that is.
Steve, you require
missed chance.
40.
In quickly,
Game shot on the fourth
hitting it
leg,
quickly, and
Steve
Hine is now in a winning position for the first time tonight.
Fifth leg, it's Tom to throw first. Game on.
And suddenly,
57.
Lonsdale finds himself right up against it, not just in this game, but in terms of qualifying through.
You know, earlier when we were saying
140.
that if Lonsdale beats Hine, he'll want Mike van Duivenbode to beat Stefan Hendrick.
96.
Well, it doesn't really matter anymore, does it?
140.
Because with Mike and Stefan both on 4 points, someone's going to 6 points anyway.
He's in the mire. Not literally, but metaphorically.
It's quite close, this
134.
table, though. It's definitely still doable, no matter what the result. It could be a lot worse.
95.
Problem is, he hasn't found his A game at any point this week. And that will be the lingering concern. However, he's had sparks, he's had moments
Steve, you
Has that
require
sparked him into life?
126.
Maybe too late for him, though. But Hine persevered with the treble. Went wide into the treble 7, and so Lonsdale will get a go to continue this game.
85. Tom, you require 40.
Tops, never in
Game
doubt,
shot on the fifth
into the
flag,
top
Tom
corner.
Lonsdale.
And back to 3-2 we go. And how many times did we in Group C this afternoon see a game
Sixth
like
flag,
this
it's
go
Steve to
all the
throw
way
first.
to a deciding leg?
Game on.
Maybe more than we should have.
60.
If I'm being fair. Some of those players should have disposed of their opponents quicker, but they didn't.
135.
And the fact that Hine has not got rid of Tom, he runs the risk of being caught again.
100. $42.
Well, the first dart of the day was thrown 12 hours ago.
41.
And this marathon day at the Super Series, which began at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday, has still got one more game to go after this.
100.
But even at this early hour of Friday morning, Tom Lonsdale is starting to put something together.
140.
Can he carve out enough chances to steal this game away?
42. Steve, you require 160.
And he'll definitely be more part of the conversation if he does that. However, it's Hine who has the position now.
100.
Match darts are imminent.
I mean, he'll end on a win on this Thursday evening.
58.
I mean that
Steve, you
Lonsdale
require
once
60.
again will be found searching, will be found wanting. Tots of the match, tots for the win.
40.
But Hine has
Tom, you
spurred the
require
chance, has spurred the
124.
opportunity.
Wrong treble.
52. Steve,
Surely
you
this
require
time
20.
the Muffin Man will find the mark.
Game shot
And with his
and the
fourth match dart,
Steve Hine.
he gets his first 2 points of his campaign, and that might just be enough to stay relevant, because we do now know as we go into our last match, we are going to have 2 players on 6 points overnight. We are going to have 1 player on 4, and 2 players, both who took part in that match, are going to rest overnight on those 2 points that they've found. But Steve Hine has overtaken Tom Lonsdale and takes 4th position after day 1. That last game is coming up. It's going to be Mike van Duivenbode against Stefan Hendrick.
Hello, welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where we are about to end a marathon day here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. And the final game is a battle of the Netherlands of Belgium, as Mike van Duivenbode and Stefan Hendrick go toe-to-toe on the stage. Well, today began with Simon Adams 4, Scott Campbell 3. It's going to end with Van Duivenbode and Hendrick, and a chance for the victor of this game to move on to 6 points in the group. And if you look at the level of performance today, Mike has been superb. We didn't know what we were going to get. We didn't know what to expect from the Dutchman when he walked through the doors. But it's been a case of so far so good. Up against Stefan, who this evening has won 2 games from 3. But if we're going to be brutal in our honest assessment, hasn't played really that well.
He's played a type. His average for the week coming into Thursday night was 80.86 with 28% on doubles. He hasn't really improved on those numbers here tonight.
100.
He's finding himself in situations that he can get out of. He has not been, for the want of a better phrase, stuffed by anybody.
95.
He's in amongst players who have made mistakes. And if Mike does that, Stefan will lurk.
135. Mike, you require 170.
Oh, Van Duivenbode first to finish in this first leg. Looking for the 170 to take a 1-0 lead. Found the little fish in his last match, but he couldn't find the big fish there. But he's going to get the next best prize. Many going to go. But the treble 15 goes a begging.
90.
So Van Duivenbode will get that poker double 18 for 1-0.
Game shot on the
13 data for the pigeon.
Mike van Duivenbode.
That's a very strong message he's carrying right there.
Second leg, it's Stefan to throw first.
You could see it was cool.
60.
It's been a long 12 hours, hasn't it?
That's what the message said.
100.
I'm going to text Richie Burnett later and I'm going to tell him about the pigeon. And he's going to petition for Mike to change his nickname to Speckled Jim.
42.
You know what the line says in that Blackadder Goes Forth episode? It says, we didn't get any messages and we definitely didn't eat this plump-breasted pigeon. Famous line by Hugh Laurie.
59.
If you've never seen that episode, Henry, you haven't lived. It's brilliant.
77.
Even at this late hour, and for someone who's never played here before, look at Mike van Duivenbode right now. Does he strike you as the kind of player that looks like he's jaded? He looks pretty fresh to me.
I don't know how much he's watched of this. I've only really
57.
had a conversation to say hello and shake hands with him. But he looks like his whole regime has been timed perfectly tonight. And he's getting the results. But Hendrick's had moments like that. And now possibly favoured to win the leg. Depends on this last dart.
93.
Good recovery with dart 3. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
How about 285?
86.
Well, that's not the first time that's happened this week.
74.
So maybe you were right, Henry. Is Mike now favourite to win the leg to go 2-0 up?
I reckon it's 74. Tops.
34. Stefan, you require 14.
Well, that was different.
No score.
Oh, not again.
Mike, you require 40.
I'm going to rename him Pat Mustard. He's been next door so many times this week.
Game shot on his second leg. Mike van
the pigeon
Duivenbode
doubles down.
Do you put mustard on chips?
Third leg.
Ooh,
it's Mike to throw first. Game on.
Gotta say no. Mustard belongs in sauces and on hot dogs. And they're two very different mustards.
39.
Mustard belongs in a sauce for stroganoff. That's Dijon mustard, by the way. Whole grain
85.
mustard for mashed potato. English mustard for roast beef. And American mustard for hot dogs.
This conversation's made me so hungry, I might go and get a kebab after this. But I won't because I'm on a diet.
Yes. Well done.
83.
Thou shalt not give in to temptation.
Still got 3 grapes left, so I might have that before I head home tonight.
Push the boat that way, don't you?
96.
One of the best things you can do to celebrate a really good night here at the Modus Super Series is
57.
hit the pillow. Get a good night's rest and be ready for night number 2. Just very, very good.
34.
This is a really good professional style performance. And it's the kind of performance
81.
that can really worry Hendrick in the form he's in.
What's it they say about class being permanent? Mike van Duivenbode is exposing all of those elements here. He was 13-2. The outsider of the 5 players before a dart was thrown this evening. When he's
45.
thrown those
Mikey
odds up in
required
the air,
92.
scrumpled up the bit of paper and sent it to the dustbin. Great first dart, double 16. That's
Game shot on the
superb.
third leg.
And
Mike
yes,
van
he's had some
Duivenbode.
ton plus checkouts tonight, but how good has his combination finishing on shots like that
Fourth
been
leg.
tonight?
It's Stefan to throw first. Game on.
He's had a glistening collection of pop outs.
If he wants to finish top of the table
97.
going into day 2, he's got to win this leg. In the live table, he's got the same amount of points as Scott Mitchell.
60.
He's got the same leg difference. But legs 1, look at that. He's 1 behind. Win this leg, the
95.
leg's difference will change, and he will go to the top ahead of day 2. There's another thing as well if he wins leg 4.
140.
He would provide us with the first 4-0 of this session. How many times have we said that this week?
59.
Yeah, but you know what will happen? Stefan Hendrick will take it all the way to a deciding leg.
I'm not sure about that, you know.
Come on, we've not seen
97.
enough darts for the day.
$60.
You want some more action, Nico?
Don't look at me. Blame the pigeon.
140.
You only need 64 more.
100. Mikey requires 64.
He's looking for a pigeon bagel.
He's going to hit 2 in his hand, a double 8 to round off a real good opening night.
48.
With
Stefan,
6
you
points to his
require
name, but he's
90.
going to have to wait. He may have to wait a leg longer, but Hendrick's missed the
40.
big number.
Mikey
And now Van
requires 16.
Duivenbode has got a tangible chance. 3 in his hand, a double 8 to kill the game off.
Game
And he
shot
only
on the
needs the
match.
1.
Mike
and
van
Mike Van
Duivenbode.
Duivenbode on debut has put in a night to be really pleased with. The pigeon is not quite on the perch, but he has got 6 points to his name. In fact, he will end the night top of the table. 92.5 average, 4 from 7 on the doubles. A real good night that for Mike Van Duivenbode. He's going to end it top of the league standings. He beat Stefan Hendrick by 4 legs to 0. And when we return after this short break, we're going to round up all of the day's action, all 13 hours of it. Welcome back to the live lounge here in Portsmouth for the Modus Super Series, where all 10 matches on this Thursday night have been completed. Myself and Paul Nicholson have been watching every single game in the commentary box. This is what we have seen. Well, it's been a night dominated by 2 players. Not a surprise, Scott Mitchell's 3 out of 4. But maybe considering we didn't know the form guide of Mike van Duivenbode, a first night which maybe we didn't expect from him straight away.
Listen, I don't think we expected anything from Mike. If he'd gone up there tonight and not performed at all, we would have said he's just rusty. But the fact is, he's gone up there tonight, looked really comfortable, and he has been the best player tonight. He's put in a pure performance at the end there, averaging 92.5. He looked really good, and to be honest with you, I think he could have gone again for a 5th or a 6th game. Just got a good engine, he's young, still got talent, and he's very close to qualifying already. Just a little bit of work on Friday night and he'll be on a Saturday for the first time.
I usually ask you with a player like Mike, what was your most pleasing attribute about him? But it's perhaps the most pleasing part, the fact that everything seemed to click together.
It's demeanour. Just looked really cool up there. The conditions haven't been ideal today. It's been really sticky. He hasn't complained once. He's just gone up there and done his job. Really professional job. And I think he should be really proud of it.
Scott Mitchell, 3 wins out of 4. Had a little bit of a blip in the middle of the session, but ended fairly strongly.
Yeah, the blip, it wasn't a good game, but the fact that he's gone up there and won 6 points anyway, it's a really solid start. I think with his experience and the way that other players are playing around him, I can see him getting through quite comfortably. Probably by the time we have our halftime chat on Friday night. If he's not there by then, he'll be through soon after.
Well, Scott Mitchell then on 6 points as well as Mike van Duivenbode. Stefan Hendrick on 4 points in the group. Now, one thing he did do tonight was really pick apart opportunities. When opponents missed, he found a way to hit.
Yeah, he did early on, but he has stumbled towards the end. And the one thing that doesn't particularly bode well for Stefan is losing that last game 4-0 has really damaged his leg difference, has brought him closer to the bottom 2 of Lonsdale and Hine. So he's more susceptible than he was about 20 minutes ago. So he's got to be really on point come Friday night, otherwise he could be on the chopping block.
Well, let's have a look at the table then going into the final day's action in Group B, because you see there Steve Hine, Tom Lonsdale, both on 2 points, both -5 as well. Actually, everything's identical as far as that pair is concerned. Neither player are going to sleep well tonight, but who do you think is going to sleep worse?
It's a good question, actually. I think it's pretty even. I know that they've got the same points and the same leg difference, but they've had tough nights at the office. I think more relief than anything else for Steve Hine because he managed to get a win in his last match at the expense of Lonsdale. So when they come into this, I think they'll be really, really happy with that last game where they've brought Hendrick closer and now they can see what they have to do to make the top 3. So maybe they won't sleep as bad as some people might think.
And back again tomorrow.
I think so. We've got to come back and we've got to finish off this week 9 melee. So it'll be interesting to see who's going to be joining Conor Hine after the double session.
Well, it's been great fun in your company today. We shall do it again tomorrow morning. Paul, thank you very much. Thank you as well for your company at home on what has been a marathon day here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, where Scotty Dog, well, he's done the business, but it's the pigeon that is at the top of the perch.